have in the past, or when you were younger, like a special teapot and you only took it out on special occasions, or
No,
when
we
visitors
never
came?
had. No, we never had the sitting room.
The good sitting room.
No,
in the,
maybe we did. You know, the fine china and all that crack.
well, not fine china, but nice plates and stuff.
I know what you mean.
That
I'm
kind of
talking
stuff.
about the stereotypical fine china. I don't think so. You know, because the living room in our house was always where we lived and watched TV. We never had a guest room or anything.
No, that's posh.
It was all just mugs. Really. There was none of that. To be honest, there was none of that.
Well, sure.
That crack.
It's nice having stuff that's usable rather than
but I've known
rooms.
Rooms where people had this beautiful sitting room and you could not go into it. It was almost like just this space that was
a good settee. Get your feet off.
But you couldn't go in. No, you couldn't go into the room.
Yeah, we had one of those, but you could go into it, but you never did because the kitchen and dining room kind of fell into one. And then you had the good sitting room, but then you used to go in there when Santa Claus came.
So is it living room, sitting room, or front room?
So it was that we had the living room and then we had the sitting room. The sitting room was the fancy kind of thing.
So the kitchen was in the living room.
No, the kitchen was kind of blended into the dining room.
Oh, you had the dining room too. Wow, you were born in a mansion.
No, but that's just the
like
names
Downton
we were brought
Abbey.
up calling them.
Well,
the dining room. No, it's a bungalow, box standard bungalow. My dad built it.
How many toilets?
One.
Very posh.
We were very posh, and we had a red light as well. Did you turn off the red light halfway up the road? Do you know?
What was that for?
With the immersion.
Oh.
Did you not call it the red light?
No, that was.
What did you call it?
It was glued off.
Was it glued? It wasn't. Who glued it off? Your dad?
Well,
you didn't do that, did he?
Stick
Stick sellotape?
It wasn't. That was unusable.
Right, because it's the expense of that thing, wasn't it?
I don't know how much.
The heebie-jeebies if you left that on.
We never had that. No, I'm afraid not.
Did you have the red light?
But then again, I'm just like my dad because in our house, do you know the coil? It's seized. You know what I mean?
And the hot press tank.
It needs to be replaced.
Cylinder thing.
So if you put it on, the whole electricity blows.
Oh, jeez, no wonder it was screwed.
I'm not fixing it.
Right.
I'm not fixing it.
All right.
Nothing wrong with a cold shower.
Right. Oh, yeah.
All right then.
But you never had electric showers then, did we?
I can't remember.
Don't think we did.
No, we had the rubber things.
Out of the bathtubs.
Yeah.
The rubbery things.
Do you know what? And when we were kids, this is disgusting, but me and Jerome used to use them as sort of like underwater, you could breathe.
You'd be blowing in them.
But he had the cold and I had the hot, and then the...
Oh, yeah. But you were having fun.
And the other end then
Two of you in the one bath.
Oh, yeah.
Aye, for the crack.
But then I hit 30 and I thought, you know what?
Time to get out of the bath.
We'll
have to change this up a wee bit, brother. All right, have a good show.
It's 9:01, time for a news update, and it's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. The US President has announced the first phase of a Gaza peace plan has been agreed by Israel and Hamas. The ceasefire deal will see the release of all remaining hostages held by Hamas, and Israeli troops will withdraw to an agreed position. President Donald Trump says he may visit the Gaza Strip in the coming days, and he'll likely go to Egypt, where discussions are being held. But James Zogby from the Arab American Institute says there's still a lot of work ahead to bring lasting peace to the region.
Bombing will stop. That's great. The prisoners will be returned and the hostages. That's great. But there are many steps forward before this becomes a real peace agreement. And we have to see whether or not the president is going to stay engaged enough to make it happen. We're down, I think, to point 2 right now. There's a lot more that has to be done.
Taoiseach Micheál Martin has been accused of misleading people about the extent of the defective block scheme. Speaking during the budget debate, Deputy Padraig McLaughlin said that Taoiseach had promised 100% redress through what would be a €3 million scheme, the biggest ever seen in the state. However, he said the lack of any substantial provisions in Budget 2026 point to a very different scenario. Deputy McLaughlin said the experience on the ground shows the hollow nature of the Taoiseach's claims.
I met a family recently on site that just demolished their home. They were absolutely traumatised. Their home is about the size of an average detached house in rural Ireland. They will be €200,000 short of redress. €200,000. The mortgage now is going to be 21 years, €1,800 a month. So that's what 100% redress looks like in the west of Ireland.
Repairs to a burst water main may cause supply disruptions in Gortahork and surrounding areas today. Works scheduled to take place until 2:25 this afternoon. And wastewater is still being released from many areas without adequate treatment, affecting water quality in rivers, lakes and along the coasts. The EPA has published a report on urban wastewater treatment in Ireland. It shows last year 4 towns and villages in Donegal were still pumping raw sewage into waterways. Work underway in Ramelton and Rathmullen. That should be complete by the end of this year. Irish Water hope to have work in Falcarra and Moville complete by 2030. The report also shows wastewater treatment in Moville didn't meet mandatory standards in the Urban Wastewater Treatment Directive. Priority action also needed in other areas, Kilmacrennan, Milford, Bridgend and Burnfoot, where surface water is under threat. Niall Horgan is a Senior Wastewater Compliance Manager with Uisce Éireann.
There is a vast and ageing network of wastewater infrastructure out there that has suffered, decades of underinvestment and presents real challenges in terms of operation, resilience and maintenance. But look, we are acting, we are taking steps to address this. Can point to the increased investment year on year that Uisce Éireann has been putting into the wastewater infrastructure, and that's delivering some real changes.
Mainly cloudy with patchy light rain or drizzle today. Top temperatures 12 to 15 degrees Celsius. Light to moderate west and northwest winds. Mainly cloudy tonight with isolated drizzle and mist. Lowest temperatures 8 to 11 degrees Celsius. That's Highland Radio News. Back with more at 10 o'clock.
It's flu season, and children are twice as likely as adults to catch the flu, which can sometimes cause serious illness. That's why all children aged 2 to 17 can get their free nasal spray flu vaccine, a safe and effective way to protect them, and the rest of your family too. So make an appointment with your GP or pharmacist. Visit hsc.ie/flu for more information. From the HSC.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning. You're very welcome along to the 9 till Noon Show for this Thursday, the 9th of October 2025. How are you all keeping? I do hope you're very well indeed and enjoying this more calm, settled spell of weather we have. The mornings are getting darker, aren't they? But I'm in for it now. I've given up on summer. I'm looking forward to Halloween, to Christmas, dare I say January, February, and then looking forward to a bright start to the new year. Well, fingers crossed. But anyway, at least it's going to be decent weather now for at least a week anyway. Not roasting or anything, but nice and calm. We're here to keep you calm, or maybe even to rile you a little bit over the next 3 hours. We've got lots coming up on the show, lots of different stuff. We're going to be covering all the big, important local stories, local interests, of course. We're going to keep you up to date with what's happening nationally and internationally with the developments in the Middle East. You don't have to go anywhere. We've got it all for you here, right on your own back door on Highland Radio. 086 60 25,000. That is the WhatsApp and text number, 086 60 25,000. If you want to give us a call, it's 074 91 25,000. Pat the Cope Gallagher will be joining us later on as well. Of course, he's one of the most senior, longest-serving members of Dólar and certainly of Fianna Fáil. He would have been at the meeting last night, during which Micheál Martin went into full-on mea culpa mode and took full responsibility for the Jim Gavin fiasco. So we'll be getting the views of Pat the Cope Gallagher, who himself could have potentially been a legitimate presidential candidate for that party. We'll be speaking to an Oireachtas member who was abducted, as some would have it, on the flotilla that was trying to get aid to Gaza. We'll get their reaction as well to the overnight breakthrough, I suppose you could say. It hasn't made any of the papers, so I'm not mentioning it. That it seems to be a peace deal has been struck. Phase 1 has been agreed of a peace deal. And remarkably, part of that peace deal is actually to let people in Gaza eat. Really, that's, when you see the terms of it. So hostages will be released. The Israeli forces will back out to an agreed line. Hostages will be released, and then they'll allow food in so that people can eat. The general population can eat. That's what was going on. But that's part of the peace deal, food for civilians. But anyway, look, it'll be discussed for years to come, of course, and the rights and wrongs and the ups and downs of it. But I think we will all be pleased, won't we, if there is a lasting peace there, because whilst it's far away, whilst we're far removed from it, you still think about it, you still see the imagery, you still see the heartbreak and the travesty. And hopefully now the world's eyes will turn its attentions on other parts of the world where kids are suffering equally, if not worse. How worse could you be? It's not a competition, but you know what I mean. There are other parts of the world where wars are raging and children have no future there as well. So hopefully those who've been excellent in campaigning in terms of Gaza and highlighting those atrocities now will treat all kids equally and will have some attention on others as well. And I mean that in a global sense. The Tyrconnell Tribune, the knives are out for Micheál Martin, is the very clear headline here. Furious members of the Fianna Fáil parliamentary party are set for a showdown with Micheál Martin in light of the Jim Gavin presidential campaign that came down on top of himself and the Taoiseach like a ton of bricks on Sunday night. The fact that Martin has effectively thrown Gavin under the bus has only infuriated party support, and they accuse him of shirking his responsibility as the one that was instrumental in putting his name on the ballot paper and bypassing Bertie Ahern. Many believe that Ahern would have won the presidency in a canter. However, Martin made sure he was not going to be in the contest and that he was obliterated from the history of Fianna Fáil, as was Eamon O'Queeve. When the parliamentary party voted to select Gavin as the chosen one for the presidency, he received 43 votes, with Billy Kelleher surprising the leadership with 29 votes. The Donegal News this morning, business owners in Letterkenny say cuts to the VAT rate for the hospitality sector announced in the budget this week will do little to ease the struggles of those already feeling the squeeze. A blanket cut in the VAT rate for restaurants, cafes, catering businesses and hairdressers from 13.5% to 9% was announced on Tuesday's budget, set to take effect in July next year. The Finance Minister said this move reflects the government's commitment to supporting businesses in the service sector, particularly those facing rising cost pressures. But two business owners in Donegal welcomed the reduction, but highlighted that the changes do not go far enough. You can hear more from them on the inside of that paper today. The Derry News this morning, a Conservative accreditation register for engineers, structural engineers with extensive knowledge of listed buildings, has been appointed to advise Derry City and Strabane District Council following the partial collapse of the former Convent of Mercy building in Pump Street. The structural collapse of the Grade B1 listed building took place in the early hours of Sunday morning. It resulted in the street being cordoned off, causing disruption for local residents and businesses. On to the Nationals now, and just when papers go to press determines what they can cover. And obviously the Irish Times had their ears on what was going on during that parliamentary party meeting of Fianna Fáil last night. Micheál Martin has apologised and acknowledged the hurt and shock of Fianna Fáil members as he addressed his party on its disastrous presidential election campaign. The Taoiseach is understood to have told a packed meeting of his parliamentary party how he was sorry for how things had turned out and was devastated by the situation. The party's candidate, former Dublin football manager Jim Gavin, ended his campaign on Sunday night amid a controversy over his time as a landlord in the late 2000s. There is a anger within Fianna Fáil that it no longer has a candidate about how Mr. Gavin was selected, and a vetting process that did not uncover a dispute he had with a former tenant. And what vetting process was there? It turns out journalists were well aware of this situation because the former tenant in question is a journalist. The Labour Party had mentioned it, and others as well, and Fianna Fáil knew at the start of September. So there can't have been any vetting at all, because not everyone, sorry, that's a ridiculous statement. Lots of people knew all about it. A standard home is now selling for 8 times what the average person earns. This is in the Irish Daily Mail. This is shocking, isn't it? However, competition remains fierce despite the extremely high cost, a survey has found. While the rate of house price inflation is slowing, MyHome.ie's latest 3-monthly report found a fifth of homes sold in September went for 20% or more above their asking price. The report warns that affordability is becoming more stretched this year, with the average residential property selling for 8 times average earnings, the highest level since 2009. And this is why we can't really compare house prices nowadays to, say, for instance, in the 80s, even when there were extremely high levels of mortgage interest rates and what have you, because really it's the cost of the house versus the average wage that really is an indicator. And 8 times the standard home is selling for 8 times what the average person earns. And that is a gap that needs to close by half in reality. So there is a slowing down of sorts, but it's not necessarily slowing down of demand. I'd say it's a slowing down of people being able to afford to buy these homes. 8 times your salary. I do note that the majority of coverage in the newspapers as it relates to the presidential election is negative. And I mean, I work in journalism, right? But it seems to be that every journalist in the country is trying to uncover something negative about the candidates. And then again, maybe, if I have one of the candidates on, I do tend potentially to go down a negative line. But I would hope I leave time then for the other side of it as well. But it just seems that everyone has their targets focused to try and get another Jim Gavin story rather than maybe just cover some of the other stuff they're talking about. But anyway, there's only two candidates, so two wee stories out of the Irish Independent. Heather Humphreys has said a campaign video about her visit to Belfast that featured Germany's parliamentary building was an error. This is how controversial this is. There was a video of a German building in it, or a picture of a German building in the video. The Fine Gael president candidate, who is from a Protestant background and grew up in the border county of Monaghan, has previously said she has a unique understanding of Northern Ireland. She said she has travelled to the north on many, many occasions and does not only go on day trips, in reference to other candidates. But I mean, obviously this video had an image of a German building. Catherine Connolly, Independent President candidate Catherine Connolly, said she would have to think about it when asked if she would consider hiring a convicted rapist to work in the Aris, which is an interesting question. It follows last week's. It's one of those questions actually whereby whatever way you answer, whatever way you answer. So if she said no, she denied something. If she said yes, she's. It follows last week's revelation that Ms. Connolly employed a woman in 2019 who was previously convicted of possessing a weapon and ammunition while the Galway TD was working on an Irish language Oireachtas committee. So someone went from that to would she hire a convicted rapist. The Irish Farmers Journal today, skyrocketing levels of bovine TB have gobbled up half of the Department of Agriculture's budget 2026 funding boost of 170 million. The department received 157 million in Tuesday's budget to cover bovine TB costs next year as the costs of the programme continued to swell. The cost of TB eradication this year is set to exceed 100 million compared to 37 million 6 years ago. Is that money being well spent? We seem to be spending an awful lot of money but still to have quite a problem with TB. If anyone out there has an interest in that and can let me know, 086 60 25,000, if it's still a problem and we're spending so much money, there seems to be some sort of a gap. You might remember the Dublin riots and some of the footage that was going around on social media. There was a guard at one point being surrounded and assaulted and a bus was set on fire. Well, the investigation has been ongoing since, and the process of getting people before the courts has been ongoing, and it's come to a conclusion. In one case, as reported in the Irish Daily Star, a man was jailed yesterday for 5.5 years for his role in assaulting a Garda sergeant during the Dublin riots. The court heard that the assault on Sergeant Brendan Edery by Thomas Fox, 22, was live streamed, and the officer's wife and teenage daughter later received videos of the attack. Sergeant Edery said in his victim impact statement that when he saw a number of men running towards him that night, he decided on principle not to yield to bullies, a mob. He said the group's only goal was random violence and intimidation before he described his patrol car being set alight. And some of these guys were found, and obviously not the sharpest tools in the box, with quite a lot of drugs on them as well. Obviously, this was off the back of a particular incident in Dublin that you might remember. But it was just people then who, and I'm not saying anyone was justified in acting as they did, but it's just bad people running around, pockets full of drugs, assaulting Gardaí. Probably didn't even know what it was all about. On to the Sun now, and the DUP has distanced itself from comments made by Ian Paisley Jr. Interesting comments around the potential of a United Ireland. Paisley, a former MP for North Antrim, also emphasised his British identity as he took part in new podcast series Borderland from BBC NI. However, he told the show he was open to persuasive arguments. He said, it's who and what I am. I'm a Brit. I'm a British citizen. But if you have got persuasive arguments, please present them, because to date I've not heard them. But the DUP said the party is not interested in engaging or being persuaded on the so-called merits of United Ireland or New Ireland. Now, I haven't heard the podcast in total, but I think what he's effectively saying there is that he is British and he doesn't necessarily believe a persuasive argument is out there. But as I say, I didn't hear the podcast. I could use Dolly Parton. Everyone loves Dolly Parton, don't they? Her sister had quite innocently put out a post on Facebook saying, "Pray for my sister. You know, she's not doing the best lately." And obviously the world ran with that as if Dolly was on the brink. But she's fine, and she recorded a video to point that out. And she looks amazing for a lady. Do you know what? For whatever age she is, she looks amazing. But Dolly Parton spoke out last night to assure fans she ain't dead yet. Following fears over her health, concerns were raised for the 79-year-old music legend after her sister said she was up all night praying for her. But Dolly lost her husband. They'd been together for almost 60 years, I think, or maybe almost 70 years. And she lost him earlier this year. So that's obviously going to prove very upsetting. And she says she took her eye off her own health. And I think she's suffering with kidney stones or gallstones or something. But anyway, she's fine. She says she's got a few wee procedures to get done, and she's going to be back and at it very, very soon, which is good news. I like to hear that people are healthy and doing well.
Newspapers are kindly supplied by Cosgrove Centra, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Now with the new look Mountaintop Diner.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Attention students, TFI Local Link bus services available nationwide can connect you to a wide range of colleges all year round. Save up to 50% on cash fares when you use your TFI Young Adult or Student Leap Card. For route and timetable information, visit transportforireland.ie. We're Transport for Ireland. We're transport for you.
These are eggs. Quick whisk, no risk, protein punch, power lunch, bake for dinner, easy winner, fed the lot, hit the spot eggs. And why pick up more eggs when you're shopping? Because there are more ways to enjoy them, like bacon and mushroom fried rice with poached eggs, delicious sautéed potatoes with spinach and eggs, or everyone's favourite, a simple cheese omelette for lunch. So versatile, so nourishing. And always choose eggs with a Board B Equality mark for the highest standards, verified at every stage. Eggs, crack on.
At iMotors, the road to 261 starts on the 16th of October. Join us for our open weekend, where we'll showcase the full Kia and Nissan lineup for 2026. On Saturday the 18th, grab a free DL burger on us. Any customer who pre-orders before the 23rd of December enters a chance to win €10,000. Exclusive at iMotors. Swing by our open weekend and drive into the new year in style.
iMotors, fearless generation.
It's October, and you know what that means. It's time for the annual Oktoberfest sale at Easy Living Furniture. Celebrate in style with huge reductions on old apartments. From plush sofas and dreamy mattresses to eye-catching dining sets and stylish accessories. We have everything to make your home feel autumn ready. Shop the Oktoberfest sale, exclusive to Easy Living Furniture. Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry, Londonderry. Don't miss out on the sale of the season.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
It's just approaching 22 minutes past 9. Now, if you listen to this programme, you'd be familiar with the Carndonagh Day services. There was a massive campaign to get them restored, and thankfully they were restored, and we had a lovely outside broadcast actually from Carndonagh there, and it was a great day of celebration and great fun. And they are there, and they're for lots of different types of people as well too, you know. And I want to chat to Tony Doherty, who's chair of the Carndonagh Day Service Restoration Campaign, just to reach as many people as possible. Maybe people have conceptions or preconceived notions of what day services are, who they're for, whether they would be for you or not for you. So it'd be interesting maybe to tease it out with Tony. And I suppose it's not just Carndonagh Day Services, this would apply across the board. Right, Tony, my GY, good morning to you. How are you keeping?
Morning, Greg, and thanks very much for having us on the show.
Yes, so all's going well, isn't it? This is about really widening out potentially the scope of the clientele for the day services. Things are going well since we last spoke.
Aye, so we you know, the last time we spoke, if you like, we were going through a trial period, a 3-month trial period, and as you said, Highland Radio came down halfway through that with their outside broadcast. And we got good news that day that the service was being reinstated permanently. So that was a huge day. That was the 20th of May. It was a beautiful beautiful sunny Tuesday morning. So we were all absolutely delighted, and I'm delighted to tell you all this morning that it's 2 days per week. The average number of people that are attending the service has been between 20 and 28. For example, 20 on Monday of this week and 23 on Tuesday of this week. So it's all going great, Greg. We're looking to try and extend that. We're talking to Sprigo Sport to try and get a third day, and we believe that the HSE will look favourably on that. There's some constraints, logistics, if you like, because as you know, Spree is a really popular community centre. But we're very hopeful that we're going to have a third day, and we're working hard on that. The reason for kind of reaching out today, and thanks for having us again, is that we're coming into the winter time now, and it's really a time for people to start to it's the days are getting shorter, and we're reaching out to our elderly people and telling them that really there's an opportunity for you to really avail of these fantastic services. There's a minibus service. The driver who drives the minibus actually comes and Neil Cross, and he comes and plays the accordion. Everybody loves the music. We've got so many different people that come different days. Colin Kelly, Dennis McGuinness, Bernie McLaughlin comes and plays the keyboards. Joe Henry, who you've met, Joe Crochet, Gabriel Duffy, who, if you remember, you went down and he sang Karen Fair.
He's brilliant.
And nailed the 4 verses, if you remember, is a real special moment that day. Andy O'Connor from the men's shed. So different groups getting involved. He plays the melodeon. The guards are coming in to talk about personal security. There's a knitting class. They do a lot of exercise.
See, it's backed by the HSE. So you've got the words HSE, and then you've got the words day services in there. And what I went down to was, and there's nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong, but what I went to was a social club, really, effectively. Now, I'm not renaming it, don't get me wrong, but what I went down to was a social club where you had, older people, but they were young, vibrant, fun people with a world of sort of experiences and skills. And it was just really good fun. There was a buzz, there was an atmosphere. Anyone listening to the OB would hear that in the background. And I just hope that people understand what the Current on a Day services is in that context, if you know what I mean. Why would anyone in that area not go along and in a lovely, warm and friendly environment and just enjoy a couple of hours once or twice a week? The numbers are great, but there's so many people that could benefit so much, Tony, that maybe aren't.
Yeah, and I remember telling you the story about my father, and he was 85, 86 at the time, and he thought the daycare service was a great idea, but he used to say to me, he was going to wait until he gets old before using it, and that's kind of maybe a key message trying to get through here today. He eventually did go, by the way, all right, but there's kind of pulling and hauling, as they say around here, right, for it to happen. And there's a number of people who can make valuable contributions. People of a certain age who can, who know the history of the area, who's who, stories and advice and support. It's all done in a very safe environment. So what we're trying to say to people, and you kind of said that social thing. There's the richness of all of that, the rich tapestry of that, all right, with our elderly, and we're trying to encourage people to come out and support the daycare service. And maybe to help some of the other people there that maybe need it more than what they do. So, as you alluded to there, it's a community service, and it's collectively that we grow the service and create the culture.
Well, I can't see any issue with a young, in inverted commas, 60, 65, 70-year-old. But I don't know what the lower age is. But the people I engaged with there, I don't know their ages, and their ages were irrelevant, but they were young people, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They were young people done up to the nines with a world of talent, brilliant voices, great fun. I didn't get the sense that I was in an older person's place, if that makes sense. And I don't even know what that is, Tony. But it's just in case there are people who are 70 or something that think, well, I'm day services. And that's why I try to reframe it maybe a little bit for those ears that I source effectively as an amazing social club and an opportunity to have fun and get something to eat, a cup of tea, and have the crack. You know what I mean? Anyway, that was only my take on it, Tony.
No, that's all of that, and again, Greg, we're coming into the winter, the long dark nights, so it's a perfect time to kind of shake down, if you like, and make plans for the winter, and all of this is helping with loneliness, mental health, community interaction. So that's kind of what the call out is for.
I'm just thinking too, there could be a man or a woman listening to us right now, for an example, in that general area who, maybe lost a partner during COVID, or maybe the two of them are in the house. And, we were bombarded with information during COVID about going outside. And, you don't go outside or you don't socialize for a certain amount of time. You kind of lose the knack of it, or you think you do. And those people who may feel isolated or may feel lonely, I'm telling you this, there are services and there are facilities out there, and you won't get anything more welcoming than the staff and the people at Carndonna Day Services. So if you found yourself going out once a week since COVID, or for whatever reason it might be, get along. Get along and meet other people. You will not meet a nicer group of people. And as you say, in the winter, the days feel much longer.
That's right, Greg. And, something that we're trying to do, and, COVID, we talked before about COVID and the effect of COVID on us all in so many different ways. But what we're doing in conjunction with the daycare services, we're going to have a Christmas party in the Colgan Hall. It's Sunday, the 7th of December. It's something just to happen, I think, pretty much everywhere, back 20 or 30 years ago. I know that we stopped doing it in Carndonna, and I have a sense that it stopped in a lot of places. But we're reviving, a traditional sort of party just to happen where, we're inviting today everybody from Carndonna and the surrounding areas at 3 o'clock on Sunday, the 7th of December. There's going to be music. The Henry Girls already said they're going to be there. The brass band, the local Carndonna choir, Donna Choir, and, loads of different musicians. We're not short of that around here. There'll be food and sandwiches and finger food from Super Value, spot prizes. And there's even a rumor that a guy called Santa Claus might be turning up, and he would know a few of the people.
An early mention for Santa. What is it? October.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do that, am I?
No, hey, listen, there ain't no rules here. As long as you don't libel him.
That's right. But,
right.
This is an opportunity for us.
That's the Colgan Hall. What day in September did you say?
So that's the easiest way to remember that. It's the 7th of December. It's the first Sunday in December in the afternoon. And, we'd be delighted, because Greg, you've been you guys in Highland Radio have been a great support to us. You got involved in this issue in September 2023. And since then, you've kept, I guess, the injustice, of the plight of the people in North Innishowen on the agenda. And, we really appreciate that. Your outside broadcast. And you know what? It's local radio at its best, what's happened here, right? It's really helped us to really gain momentum and get our voice out there to all the people in the hills around Innishowen, and getting the support. So we'd be delighted if you could be there. It's on the Sunday, it's whatever. But anybody from Highland Radio, they're very welcome to come along.
It sounds like something I could take the family up to, actually. We shall certainly see. It's something I definitely would love to go to, Tony. So we'll remind
people. By the way, sorry, it's not that really. It's the opportunity to thank the HSE staff and the carers, for all the support and everything they do for us.
They are brilliant. Stay there. Councillor Albert Doherty obviously was a key political figure. Cross-party support there was for the restoration of the Carndonna Day Services. And Albert, I suppose you called in, timely reminded to welcome the fact that these services are there, and I suppose to back Tony in saying, get out there and enjoy these services. Use them if you're in and around the area.
100%. I think it's important in the community that we acknowledge and are thankful for the void that has been filled with the restoration of daycare services. And just listening to Tony and knowing the committee and the staff involved, it's to say a sincere thank you to all involved. But even the positive steps that Tony's mentioned, we'd like 2 days to become 3. We'd like eventually 5 days. But there has been a need, the need's been restored, and now we'd like to provide more. And I think it's just important that we acknowledge and thank all concerned who have helped deliver the restoration of daycare services here in Carndonagh.
All right, and let's challenge those people in that area who now feel that, all right, okay, maybe that is for me, to get along. And it's very welcoming, isn't it, Tony? You just turn up, don't you? On Monday. Is it Monday and Tuesdays?
Mondays and Tuesdays, yeah. So it's on our Facebook page. If you're living in the Carndonagh area and you're already known to the public health nurse service, you contact your local public health nurse, and I can give you the number 074 9898 259 to get registered. And if you're not known, you can contact Carndonagh Community Hospital directly on 07493 74164 to get registered.
We'll retain those numbers here. Councillor Doherty, thank you for your time, and well done on the work you did.
And thank you, Greg, and thank you, Highland, as well, for all the support.
Take care, and remind us, you will, of course, Tony, you wouldn't allow us to forget, closer to the time, so we can give the event in Colgan Hall a mention. Is that all right? Well done to you, by the way, and the rest of the committee for what you're doing for the people.
And thank you, Greg. And just one final thing, if I can just say, everybody listening here, throughout Donegal and the Northwest, as we come into the winter and looking out the window here, it's a wee bit dark this morning, to call in and see your elderly neighbours, it's amazing what one wee visit, will mean to their day, however short or insignificant it may seem. We all have our part to play in this, and I would just call on us all to kind of think of that as the days close in.
For sure. All right. Thanks so much indeed. That is Tony Doherty, Chair of the Carndonagh Day Services Restoration Campaign. We also heard there from Councillor Albert Doherty.
Electric Ireland Superhomes can help you achieve a cosier, healthier and more energy efficient home, and one with less carbon emissions. They look after your home's retrofit from start to finish, including management of SEAI grants. Visit electricirelandsuperhomes.ie and start your journey to a superhome today. Grants offered are provided by the Government of Ireland through the SEAI.
Autumn is alive with a kaleidoscope of colour, nature and adventure at National Trust NI. Unwind and relax with a crunchy leaf walk through Rowellan Garden. Sample the finest seasonal food at Florence Court's Harvest Fair. Gaze into the majestic mirror-like lake at Mount Stewart. And breathe in the beautiful garden at Castle Ward. Or delight with frightful fun on one of our trails this Halloween half-term. Come along and make wonderful memories this autumn. Search National Trust NI today.
Your local civil defence is now recruiting volunteers. Train in search and rescue, boating, medical response, communications, catering and more. Learning skills that could help build your career. Anyone over 18 can apply to join, and every county has its own civil defence unit. Make lasting friendships while learning essential skills that can save lives. For more information on how to join, go to civildefence.ie/join.
Love great food, fashion, and making a difference? Join the team that puts customers first every single day. Just search M&S Careers and start your journey today.
At Specsavers, we've got hearing devices that can stream music or movies. Ones that are good in crowds, rechargeable battery ones that are good at home, ones that are good in the great outdoors, ones that connect to phones, ones that fit in your ear, ones that fit over your ear, ones that fit in wherever you happen to be. We've even got ones in our advanced range that use AI to make speech sound clearer. And they're all available at great Specsavers prices. So book a free hearing check today. Terms and conditions apply.
Join us at Heron Auto, Donegal Town for our 261 Open Weekend from the 17th to 19th of October. Explore the latest Kia models with brand new EV4 on display with exclusive offers including finance from 0%. Open Saturday 9 to 4 and Sunday 10 to 4. Don't miss your chance to upgrade. That's Heron Auto Open Weekend, 17th to the 19th of October.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Right, so in the budget, and we're still sort of breaking down some of the consequences of the budget and their implications. In the budget, it was announced that the Living City Initiative scheme was being extended to Letterkenny. So This will mean the eligibility for residential properties from those built before 1915 to those built before 1975 will now support converting over-the-shop premises into residential units, aiming to address housing shortages. Councillor Paul Canning is Cathaoirleach of Donegal County Council, but also, of course, has through his own business interests, has a keen interest in this area as well. Paul, thanks for joining me.
No problem, Greg. It's good to hear from you, and hello to all your listeners.
Right, so describe the scheme to me. I suppose we'll just go straight to its potential benefits for Letterkenny, as you see it.
Yeah. Well, it's first of all, it's great to see that the word city has been linked with Letterkenny in nearly every conversation we're having now. So that's a plus for Letterkenny. In relation to this scheme, it's a tax relief for businesses in relation to anybody that wants to change, convert, do whatever they have to do with their premises within the town centre. So it's to encourage bringing people back into the centre of the town. And this is probably an easier grant allocation for you're already in a situation where you're in your business, you're going through your business, and you say, well, hold on a second here. If I convert or fix upstairs or do it up, I will get tax incentives here, so I'll get tax relief then on my returns, and that is already in the mix with your accountant anyway. So it's probably an easier grant to avail of than previous grants whenever you were applying to get A, B, and C done.
Now, before we sort of talk, before we talk about sort of how it works, I mean, I think cities are better, or towns, or large towns, or however you want to phrase it. It's better when there's a mix of the population, isn't there? That, you know, you have a mixture of business and residential.
Without a doubt, and key to Letterkenny, and we keep saying it. Key to Letterkenny is the ATU. The status that the ATU has, and the fact that their aim is to get students up to about 600, and they are getting major investment all the time. And in fairness to Paul Hannigan and John Anthony and Dr. Orla Flynn, they are at that level, and they want Letterkenny to come along with them in the journey. And I know you've probably spoke to Orla Flynn in the past, or will be, in relation to the professor status. So. Yep. All of that brings students, and those students then they will be spending money in the town, as well as your local people and as well as visitors to the town. So it all works well for the town of Letterkenny, and we do have major investment coming into Letterkenny in relation to the old courthouse and in relation to the innovation centre. You know, there's 24 million coming in there to that innovation centre, and there's 7 million coming into the old courthouse. All of that is part of the regeneration of Letterkenny. This is another string in the bow.
And I'm sorry to bring the dreaded word traffic into it at this stage, okay? But I mean, all this development is fantastic.
That's understandable, and
but you know,
that's expected. Yeah. You know, that is. I was expecting the conversation parking, you know, of traffic, because we do have that issue, and I know you know my answer, because also as the Fianna Fáil party voted against that poorly until we were ready. We felt that we weren't ready, but now that it's here, we have to work with it. So in relation to the TNT project, just to give you a quick run on the TNT project, is we are at a stage now where it's the environmental, all of that is being teed up, and it's with the board, and we're waiting on decisions in that. Then we go to basically the compulsory purchase order, and we go through all that process. So all that process is in play. The TNT is probably the only major roads project that is the furthest advanced at the minute, because we have the hold up of the A5, the N2, all of them. The TNT stands alone, and it is moving in the right direction. Slow, I know, but it is moving, and we are ahead of the posse in relation to that. So that is ongoing. There is a commitment from the government in relation to the TNT. We have a lot of at this stage, we haven't really got engaged too much with the landowners, but we will be engaging with them at a much deeper level as we go through the process. But we have to go through that planning process first, and we are doing the test holes, as you know, and bits and pieces like that. But we are moving. That then brings you into the Bunagee link, which also creates sorts out the situation regarding the traffic. We are aware of it. We know how it works, and we know the implications that's there. We don't have any options other than that Bunagee link, and that's where we're at.
All right, so it'll be interesting to see what the level of uptake is, and I presume the dates there are to stop, say, for instance, someone turning areas above modern shops into handy housing, and this is designed for traditional buildings in towns built before 1915 to those built before 1975.
It's designed. It's designed for traditional buildings, but and we are now we're launching a project out in the independent living at the minute for disabled people and bringing disabled people back into the workforce. That's happening today in Letterkenny. So the situation is it gives those houses or those apartments or those it gives them an option to say, well, hold on a second here. Because we're built prior to 1975, we don't have the proper disabled access for a lot of people, and that cuts a lot of people out of the market at the moment. And the older people, it gives them an option to say, well, let's look at the back of this building. Can we put a lift? And the council at the minute is actually offering grants for lifts that actually the straight through floor lift, and you can put a lift into your house now, Greg, for about 25,000 max, and that is the same as your commercial lift, that a person can wheel a wheelchair into it and arrive upstairs 2 stories up, 3 stories up. So that's all that all weighs itself in that direction, and that will suit a lot of people, and it also ticks a box in relation to us looking after disabled people.
Yep.
So all of that goes in that direction, and it's great to see us going in that direction.
Well,
and I know at times it can be slow and all that, but that's where we're at regarding the council and at national level.
All right, Theo. Listen, thanks for that quick word on the parliamentary party meeting last night. If you were in it, would you have expressed confidence and faith in your party leader?
Of course I would have confidence and faith in the party leader, but as you well know, Greg, I'm on the bottom run of the ladder.
Yeah, but you're all bottom rung, Paul. You're all bottom rung, and that's why I'm asking you.
That's why I'm able to answer you as well. You know what I mean? I would have confidence in him, of course. You know
really?
what I mean?
So what would he have to do for you to lose confidence in him? I mean, he's made an absolute hames of your party with this whole process.
You go back a few years. You go back a few years where we were, and we are the largest party in the country again. So he must have done something right.
Okay. I'll leave it on that note. Thanks very much indeed, Councillor Paul Canning. Now, I want to mention that the Donegal Down Syndrome Association are hosting their annual Cars and Coffee event on Sunday. It's at the Carragart Parochial Hall from 12 noon until 2 p.m. Donations welcome at the door. Tickets will be on sale for a raffle as well. So if you like your coffee and you like your cars, and you can have tea as well, of course, and there's some buns and what have you, get along to Carragart Parochial Hall this Sunday from 12 noon until 2 p.m. It's a wonderful hall. It's a lovely atmosphere. There's loads of parking and easy access. And also you'll be supporting Donegal Down Syndrome Association. So if you're in and around that area, or even indeed if you fancy just travelling somewhere on Sunday for a drive and a coffee, get along to Cars and Coffee this Sunday between 12 noon and 2 p.m. at the Carragart Parochial Hall. And there's another thing that I want to mention as well, by the way, just whilst I'm on this vibe. Yeah, it's a coffee morning that is taking place on Saturday. You're invited to a special coffee morning. It's a fundraising event. It's being held in aid of critical emergency medical response. So, you know, Jerry Laney's been on with us before. These guys do amazing work in getting to people and giving them the best opportunity of life. Well, that team provide vital support when it's needed most. And the event is in memory of Aenus McFadden. and it's on the 11th of October, which is Saturday, between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m, and it's at 159 Upper Mount Marion, Milford, and all proceeds on that day will directly benefit Critical's amazing volunteer work. So your support makes a real difference. And there's a poster going about as well too. In fact, it's on my social media. If you just search Greg Hughes, there's a wee link there if you want to remember Mr. McFadden, but also support Critical. Then you can actually just go onto my Facebook page and click the link if you can't get along to the coffee morning. Right, back with our next guest after these.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your presidential candidate, Charlie's Chip. Vote for someone who's hand-cut for the job and will bring a fresh approach to the table. A candidate who supports all buns, sauces and salads equally and will ensure better takeaways for everyone. If there's one chip that can change your future, this is it. Let's fry for a better future. Vote Charlie's Chip for president. Charlie's, open Tuesday to Saturday, Pierce Road, Letterkenny.
Transform your living room with a luxurious, bespoke feature wall from Sprat Fireplaces, Newmills, Letterkenny. Our complete installations include built-in storage, electric fires, floating shelves, and stunning finishes in stone, porcelain, or marble. Each feature wall is designed and built in-house by our expert carpentry and stone masonry teams. No fuss, just flawless feature walls. Call 074 91 24144 or visit spratfireplaces.ie. Sprat Fireplaces, experts in heating, design, and detail.
Here in Ireland, we're doing well when it comes to our recycling and food waste bins. However, some paper, plastics and food are still ending up in our general waste bins. It can happen. So take a minute before you bin it and go to mywaste.ie for help and suggestions on how to make segregating your waste that bit easier. That's mywaste.ie. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
When you hear these names, you'll think tries and tackles. But off the pitch, Jamison Gibson Park surfs. Tygburn bakes. And Ryan Baird fishes. Game-changing talent isn't always what you expect. Just like Vodafone Business. We're experts in more than you might think, with cybersecurity, cloud solutions, and collaboration tools. So your business can change the game. Search Your Business Can.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. It's time to save on autumn essentials with our coats and boots promotion. Spend €100 on women's, men's or kids' coats and boots for 10% off. Offer available for a limited time only. Shop in store or online at mcelhinneys.com today.
So mainly cloudy with patchy light rain or drizzle, temperatures of 12 to 15 degrees. Councillor Jerry McMonagle is chair of the Regional Health Forum West. He joins me on the show now. Jerry, thanks for taking the call this morning.
Good morning, Greg.
Right, the HSE's National Ambulance Service has said that failures to meet response targets means that some patients can wait for more than 2 hours for an emergency service response. In the HSE West and North West region, 64% of purple calls and 45% of red calls were made within target. Now, I suppose overall, I don't know how those targets being missed corresponds with how long you might actually have to wait, Jerry, but obviously in your position you've dug a little bit deeper into this. So what do the figures tell us?
Well, there's obviously a massive demand on the ambulance service currently in Donegal and indeed in the whole West, but it's an issue we've been raising now for quite a while with the Regional Health Forum and the National Ambulance Service at the meetings. And there's a number of things that they've been putting in place to try and meet the target set by HICWA. We have the Pathway Initiative now, which is trying to minimise the amount of people that have to be taken to hospital. Look, we all know the difficulties that we have in University Hospital Letterkenny with the accident emergency. We have regularly ambulances queued up, waiting to deliver patients into the ED. We only have one hospital in Donegal. We have an operational model, and we've argued this quite a few times, that is based on cities in Britain. that has been transferred here. We don't think that model fits in rural Ireland.
And I think that's particularly exposed, isn't it? When you could have 3, 4, 5 ambulances at LUH that could be from all different parts of the county, and then you get an emergency call, and you look at where the next available ambulance is, and then that's where you get these stories, albeit I hope they're rare, an ambulance from Kinloch responding. It's all sort of intertwined, isn't it, with our geographical spread, the delays sometimes in discharging patients from ambulances into the hospital, and then, of course, the inevitability that the phone goes when you have your least resources often.
Yeah, look, and ambulances, as I say, regularly. Last week we had, on one day, 13 ambulances queued up at Letterkenny University Hospital. That has a massive impact on the service in the county. And we've had to, in the past, as you're aware, Greg, bring ambulances in from other counties to meet the demand and the calls that have been used in Donegal, and vice versa. Ambulances from Donegal have had to go into other counties as well because they're under pressure. But if we drill down into the figures, if we look at the purple calls, which are an average of 11 to 20 a week, and that's the one that's not hitting its targets, it's probably the most serious and something that we really have to look. Because if you were waiting for if you're on a purple call and waiting for an ambulance, 5 minutes, 10 minutes is a long time. Never mind having to wait up to an hour. The red calls, which would be averaging around 800 calls on a weekly basis, they are hitting the targets. So there is a lot of calls that are being met in the time set by ICWA, but we have to get better.
Just in relation to how we respond to that, I mean, obviously the more crews, more ambulances, we have the ambulances, more crews seems obvious, but we don't want a situation where instead of 13 ambulances queued up at the ED, there's 23 ambulances queued up to the AD, if you know what I mean, like at the ED, sorry. So that's, I think that seems to be a real issue in terms of, ambulances being unnecessarily, you would feel unnecessarily tied up.
Yeah, and look, it's what we do, because the ambulance service and the personnel are doing a fantastic job in this county, as they are across the whole country. And what we need to look at is, right, how can we give them the tools to do their job as and when is needed? And I know locally the management in the west and the northwest have been asking for further service development posts to be allocated to Donegal. There was a number of these posts allocated right across the country, but unfortunately in the west and northwest, none of those posts were allocated. And we have asked about them. We've put in PQs to the minister as to why this hasn't happened, because this would help and enhance the service that we have, particularly here in Donegal. And as you're aware, Greg, we have a very aging population. Mm-hmm. Now, all the demographics of what leads to a lot more cancer patients, a lot more people with COPD in Donegal. So there's nearly a bigger ask. And I think rather than looking at the place as a whole, the country as a whole, we need to look at the specific needs of each country.
Well, the money has to follow the patient. It's logical, but unfortunately at the moment
it doesn't. Put the resources into Donegal and indeed the northwest that are needed to meet the demand. Okay. And that's the issue for us at the minute. It's getting the powers that be to understand this and take it on, and to look outside the so-called operational model that they're currently using.
All right, all we can do is keep plugging away until such time as that's achieved. Thank you very much indeed. That's Councillor Jerry McMonagle, who is chair of the Regional Health Forum West, and many of you out there have been that family or that individual waiting on that ambulance. 64% of purple calls and 45% of red calls were made within targets. That, I mean, so obviously, I don't need to say this to you, but that means obviously the remainder were not, and it's the most critical calls too that we're not reaching the targets on. We are reaching the targets on the red calls, but not the purple calls. And those are the ones where every second counts. Okay, back with more after the news.
If you're going through a difficult time, you're not alone. There are now more mental health support services available for men. These include free counselling sessions, in person or online, as well as confidential phone support, available 7 days a week. Getting support can make a real difference to you and your loved ones. To find out more about the full range of free services available, visit yourmentalhealth.ie/men. From the HSE.
If you have a special occasion coming up, Watson Menswear stock a great selection of men's and boys' formal and casual wear. Top casual brands include Mishmash, French Connection, Tommy Bow and Penguin. Formal wear names include Rimazumo, Sixth Sense and White Label, with a special suit deal of a 3-piece suit, shirt, tie and shoes, all for only €299. Watson Menswear, open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny and at watsonmenswear.com.
Join me, Marty Friel, this and every Friday night from 8 for Rocket Hits on Highland Radio in association with Arena 7 Letterkenny. Try their new interactive dartboards with lots of games that all the family can play. See arena7.ie.
You value growing your family's healthy habits with Lidl Plus Super Savers that won't cost the earth. Ripe on time for snack time. Fun-size bananas, 51% off, now 95 cents. And 1 kilogram of Board B approved Irish Rooster potatoes, 50% off, only 99 cents. Lidl, more to value.
EirGrid, operator of Ireland's electricity grid, is powering up Donegal. We're planning to upgrade the electricity grid in your area, and your input and local knowledge are vital in shaping these plans. Our consultation opens on the 16th of September. Have your say, online or in person, so together we can create a more reliable, sustainable electricity supply for your community. Find out more at airgrid.ie/northwest.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. Taoiseach Micheál Martin has been accused of misleading people about the extent of the defective concrete block scheme. Speaking during the budget debate last evening, Deputy Padraig McLaughlin said that Taoiseach has promised 100% redress through what would be €3 million scheme, the biggest ever seen in the state. However, Deputy McLaughlin said the lack of any substantial provisions in Budget 2026 point to a very different scenario. He told TDs the experience on the ground shows the hollow nature of the Taoiseach's claims.
I met a family recently on site that just demolished their home. They were absolutely traumatised. Their home is about the size of an average detached house in rural Ireland. They will be €200,000 short of redress. €200,000. The mortgage now is going to be 21 years, €1,800 a month. So that's what 100% redress looks like in the west of Ireland.
The US President has announced the first phase of a Gaza peace deal has been agreed by Israel and Hamas. The ceasefire deal will see the release of all remaining hostages held by Hamas, and Israeli troops will withdraw to an agreed position. Donald Trump says he may visit the Gaza Strip in the coming days. He's also set to go to Egypt, where discussions are continuing. James Zogby from the Arab American Institute says it's a good start, but there's still a lot of work ahead to bring lasting peace to the region.
Bombing will stop, that's great. The prisoners will be returned and the hostages, that's great. But there are many steps forward before this becomes a real peace agreement. And we have to see whether or not the president is going to stay engaged enough to make it happen. We're down, I think, to point 2 right now. There's a lot more that has to be done.
Wastewater is still being released from many areas without adequate treatment, affecting water quality in rivers, lakes and along the coast. The EPA has published a report on urban wastewater treatment showing that last year 4 towns and villages in Donegal were still pumping raw sewage into waterways. A number of issues were also addressed, as Barry White now reports.
Work is underway in Ramelton and Rathmullen and should be complete by the end of this year. Irish Water hope to have work in Valcarra and Moville complete by 2030. The report also shows wastewater treatment in Moville did not meet the mandatory standards in the Urban Wastewater Treatment Directive. Priority action to protect surface water is needed in 4 other areas: Kilmacrennan and Milford, where work is underway, and Bridgend and Burnfoot, where Irish Water hopes to have work done by the end of the decade. The report says upgrade works must also be completed to address sewage overflows that compromise bathing water quality at Lees Bay in Buncrana, while Donegal Town is identified as an area where work is needed to protect freshwater pearl mussels.
Repairs to a burst water main may cause supply disruptions in Gorthahork and surrounding areas today. That work set to take place until 25 to 3 this afternoon. The DUP is distancing itself today from comments made by the son of one of its founders about being open to the potential for United Ireland. Ian Paisley Jr., a former North Antrim MP, also emphasised his British identity as he took part in a podcast series, Borderland, by BBC Northern Ireland. Speaking with United Ireland campaigner Professor Colin Harvey, Ian Paisley Jr. said he regards himself as British, but his mind is open.
So at the moment you haven't presented one single argument that would say to me, gosh, that stumped me, I really should be voting for United Ireland.
Your mind is open.
Of course, my mind's open. My mind's open every single day of the week.
A set of circumstances where you would
my mind is open.
Donegal property prices have risen by €19,950 in the past year. According to myhome.ie's latest survey, the median asking price for a property in the county is now just €50 short of €250,000. With more, here's Donna Marie Doherty.
Property prices in Donegal have risen by €15,000 during the quarter, according to the latest myhome.ie property price report. The report for quarter 3 of 2025, in association with the Bank of Ireland, shows that the median asking price for a property in the county is now €249,950. This means prices have fallen by €5,050 over the quarter. There were 540 properties for sale in Donegal at the end of this quarter. The average time for the property to go to sale agreed in the county after being placed up for sale now just stands at over 4.5 months.
Weather forecast mainly cloudy with patchy light rain or drizzle today. Top temperatures 12 to 15 degrees Celsius with light to moderate west to northwest winds. Mainly cloudy tonight with isolated drizzle and mist. Lowest temperatures 8 to 11 degrees Celsius, light westerly or variable winds. Largely cloudy tomorrow with isolated patchy drizzle possible. Top temperatures 12 to 14 degrees Celsius. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11. Check all the day's news on highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning. The obituary notices for this Thursday morning, the 9th of October. The death has occurred of John Cronolly, Brewery, County Limerick, reposing today at his home in Balnagool, Limerick. Removal from there tomorrow to arrive for 1 o'clock Requiem Mass at the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Brewery, followed by burial afterwards. The death has taken place of Francie McAteer, 238 Lower Mount Marion, Milford, reposing at his home today from 12 noon until 10 p.m, with Rosary at 9. Requiem Mass tomorrow morning at 11 in St. Peter's Church, Milford, with burial afterwards in Milford Cemetery. The Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to ICU, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member. The death has occurred of Angela Callahan, Bohullion, Burt. Wake is private police at the request of the deceased. Removal tomorrow afternoon at 1 to St. Angus's Church, Burt, for Requiem Mass at 1:30, followed by interment in Burt Cemetery. The Requiem Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Cancer Care West University Hospital, Galway, care of any family member or Sean Murphy, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Fidelma Hassan, née Doherty, late of 22 Church Street, Strabane, reposing at her son Brian Hassan's home, 37 5 Acres, Strabane. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 9:30 for Requiem Mass in the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Strabane, at 10 o'clock, followed by interment in Strabane Cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers, please, to Belmont Manor Residents Comfort Fund, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. The Requiem Mass can be viewed via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Eileen McMahon, née McDade, Johnston, Scotland, formerly of 42 Beaver Park, Coolmore, Derry. Eileen's remains will repose at her brother Leah McDade's residence at 159 Temple Grove, Derry, today from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Removal tomorrow morning at 10:15, going to St. Angus's Church, Burt, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, followed by interment in Burt Cemetery. The Requiem Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. And the death has taken place of Henry Patterson, Clonmass, Dunfanaghy, The wake will take place at his home today from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Funeral service in the Presbyterian Church, Dunfanaghy, tomorrow morning at 10:30, followed by cremation at Lakelands Crematorium in County Cavan at 4 o'clock. Family time, please, before the funeral tomorrow. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or James Harkin, Funeral Director. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Fearing the weekly shop? Your money now goes even further with our new Aldi Price Drops. Fill your bag with your faves, fresh wraps, pesto, maybe pancakes? You know, good food, the bits you need, and the treats you deserve. Then head to the till, check the bill, and breathe. Save even more with Aldi Price Drops.
And you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Don't forget to WhatsApp and text your views to us to 086 60 25,000. A caller says we've no water in the Ardsmore area of Gortahoe, no showers for people going to work, and off once again. We're not notified. Ishka Aaron is a joke, except a very unfunny joke. The Westbrook Bridge in Buncrana and the Cockhill Road in Buncrana are closed, we're told. They weren't supposed to close until after 9 to allow school and work traffic to get through, so that's a message that came in just before 9. Housing in Ireland is a luxury. This would never be. How is this handled in other European countries? The government have again helped the rich by giving money to McDonald's and horse racing, the sport of kings. People will die because they cannot afford heating or food due to outrageous rent. Well, there was no mechanism, the government say, there was no mechanism to give your sort of, average company, your coffee shops or your sandwich shop, your restaurant, your small restaurant, your cafe. There was no way to give them a VAT break. Without actually giving KFC, Burger King, McDonald's the same tax break. So they're, I think McDonald's made 42 million in Ireland last year, and now they're going to make even more money because of the VAT reduction. But you can't really tailor it. It's against EU laws, so to speak. Fianna Fáil TD, Pat the Cope Galler is with him now. Good morning, Pat. How are you getting on?
I'm good, Greg.
Thanks for joining us. All right. I mean, I know last night's meeting was meant to be private, but there was a running commentary as everyone was speaking. I suppose, how would you judge the mood in the meeting? I suppose post Micheál Martin's comments on the Jim Gavin controversy.
Well, first of all, let me say, Greg, that as a result of our meeting in Killybegs on Sunday evening, I was buoyed up to bring a motion to the party last night in relation to the proposal from the ISIS to reduce the mackerel quota by 70%, but of course it was not to be. But I did get an opportunity to raise it at the outset and will be doing it. But the meeting then, of course, was all about the election, about the appointment of Jim Gavin as our candidate and the repercussions of the decision late on Sunday night to withdraw from the presidential election.
You described the selection of the party, that the presidential candidate was a contrived majority, which was heavily influenced by the leadership. Do you want it reformed, that the whole process reformed?
Well, first of all, let me say that the vote was 41-29. That's 12 votes, 6 votes from Gavin to Billy Kelleher would have meant a tied vote. But I have no doubt in my mind, but it was a contrived majority. It's a phrase that I learned from the late Neil T. Blaney years ago about the majority in Northern Ireland. And what is a contrived majority? As a winning majority was deliberately engineered to achieve a particular outcome. And that's exactly what it was. And it was stated by many members last night that no one was under any pressure. Now, when the leader of the party rings you or a senior minister rings and discusses the election, that in itself is a coded message. And when they tell us that they're in favour of one candidate or the other, that definitely have an influence. It was said that no one was frog marched. Of course, it was democratic in theory, but it was heavily influenced by the leadership.
And were you called by Micheál Martin or someone on his behalf?
No, I was called by another minister I won't name, but I wasn't called by Micheál Martin, and I think he knows me too well that I wouldn't take any diktat or that I wouldn't be influenced like that. I indicated at the very outset when I met Jim Gavin that I favoured someone from the Fianna Fáil gene pool. Didn't necessarily mean that it was someone who was in the parliamentary party. It was someone who would have an association with the party. There were a number of those from the outside, whether it be Bertie Ahern, Eamon O'Keefe, Mary Hanifin, and I think I was proven right. There was due diligence, but the due diligence didn't unearth the issues that culminated in the decision of last Sunday.
And I mean, you have a wealth of experience within Fianna Fáil, within politics, within life in general. Do you think people like yourself should have been asked their opinion, at least to even as a sign of respect to what you've given to that party, but also actually to get an understanding that you would have of the electorate and how any decision like this might have been received by the same electorate?
Well, I made that point at the meeting last night, and I'm not talking outside the school, but as soon as I had spoken at the parliamentary party meeting, I had messages from national journalists asking me, did I say this and did I say that? It would appear that someone was leaking from the meeting because they had exact detail. But having said that, I did make it very clear that I went into the Dáil 44 years ago. I'd been in the parliamentary party 38 years ago, except for 2 short periods. And I thought the very least, when I heard Micheál Martin say that he consulted widely, now widely should have included me, having spent 38 years and have come through 9 Dáil elections, 3 European elections, but if not for the interference of the leadership in 2014, I would have been elected. But I wasn't listened to at the time when I was told it was mathematically impossible to lose, but it was. So I have all that experience, and it wasn't asked, and I would have given a very clear view of my own opinion, and that there would have reflected the opinion of the party and indeed the electorate generally in Donegal. I was one who very much favoured someone having the Irish language, and when I speak to young people now and who they're going to vote for, they say, well, we're going to consider somebody who speaks the Irish language.
And do you have someone in mind that you think would have been a good candidate from that Fianna Fáil gene pool? I mean, obviously your own name was mentioned, and I think this deep into it now, you know, you would be doing very well, I would imagine, to be completely honest with you, nationally. But I don't know if you're comfortable talking about whether or not you would like to have been offered the chance, or if you have someone else in mind, Pat.
Of course, I was very honoured when John McAteer of the Colin Tribune ran with the story, and of course I would have had an interest, and my name has been in the past on a ballot paper in 16 counties, from Clare to Donegal and from Lee Shoffley back to but there was no question of me even being considered at all. So there were other candidates, I believe, and I think that had Bertie Ahern been given the opportunity, or Eamon O'Keefe, or Mary Hanifin, or indeed Maura Geoghegan-Quinn, who served as minister, who served as a commissioner and auditor, any of those people. But we were told that nobody put their hand up. But the fact of the matter is, the process that we're being told would be unveiled at the end of August. It was too late at that stage, and I think the approach was made to Jim Gavin because it was felt that because of his years in the Defence Forces, his years as manager of Dublin, having been involved in the inner city Dublin, all of that. But I don't believe that the people of Ireland were too interested in that. They wanted somebody who was in the gene pool. Now, of course, reference was made to Mary McAleese, that she came from the outside, but Mary McAleese, in all fairness to her, wore her political colours on her sleeve, and she ran for the Dáil in Dublin. So also did the other person who has been mentioned, was Carvel O'Daly, who stepped up when the Erskine Childers died and 2 years into his presidency. And Carvel O'Daly stood for Fianna Fáil twice in Dublin. So they had that track record. But having said all that, there's a great deal of sympathy for Jim Gavin, whom I met. He came to Donegal to meet me. I met him there, and for his wife, his children and his parents. And he's really now, obviously, a man that has such a high profile. It's a very difficult time for him.
For sure. There was no, obviously, sort of express questioning of Micheál Martin's leadership. I think the closest was that maybe the party needs to look at where it goes from January 27 onwards. I mean, given the fact that maybe this budget's not exactly the budget you would like to have seen Fianna Fáil deliver, given the question marks over Micheál Martin's decision making, do you think it's time now the party begins to look at its next direction?
Well, we have a roadmap now. It was agreed at the party meeting last night that was set up a small group to report on the circumstances surrounding all of this from the first day. That there will be the terms of reference will come before us next week. We can amend those terms of reference, and I would be anxious that the people in that committee would be backbenchers. And after that, I believe they should report within a matter of weeks, and then we can take the next steps.
But would you have faith in Micheál Martin's leadership at the moment?
I'm like there was no question of that last night. But if you heard my contribution, then you'll possibly find an answer there.
So that's no.
I didn't say. I
don't want to interpret you. I respect your words, Pat, and I don't want to interpret them, if you know what I mean. So, would you, at the moment, have faith in Micheál Martin's leadership?
You don't have to interpret. I let the listeners interpret what I'm saying, and I've been a loyal member in the parliamentary party for 38 years, and I think possibly I'm going further than I had intended. Even though there were leakages, that's for others to answer those questions, but we will wait and see what the developments are over the next number of weeks, and we're looking for early answers. We must realise that we have the presidency of the European Union in the second half of next year, and that's very important to Ireland. So we'll let matters develop over the next number of weeks.
Thank you very much indeed. That's Fianna Fáil Deputy Pat the Cope Gallagher, who we squeeze in as you can hear the bell tolling down in the Dáil. Before we get the bingo numbers, good luck if you're playing today, because it is Jackpot Day.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday, October 9th, Jackpot Day. Playing for the jackpot prize of €10,200 on the pink sheet. Reference number is S4. It's week 41. The jackpot number is 36. This number can come out in any position from the next 10 numbers drawn. Today's numbers are 24, 21, 56, 72, 2, 53, 38, 11, 46, and 41. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Would you like to join Highland Radio's award-winning news and current affairs team? We're seeking a full-time journalist. The successful applicant will be integral to the delivery of local news and current affairs across our broadcast and digital platforms. The role is highly hands-on and requires a keen interest in the issues and people of our community. You can apply by forwarding your CV to Greg Hughes at highlandradio.com or by post to Head of News, Highland Radio, Mountaintop, Letterkenny, County Donegal. Applications close on Friday the 17th of October.
If you're getting new furniture or it's time for a change, pay a visit to McGinley's Furniture in Letterkenny. There you'll find a selection of suites, beds and bedroom furniture, dining room and occasional furniture. You'll be amazed by the selection and pleasantly surprised by the prices. At McGinley's Furniture, Portlink Business Park, Port Road, Letterkenny. And online at mcginleysfurniture.com.
Darren knows these roads. He knows every turn, every tree, every person's house. He knows when he wants to put his foot down. But here's something he doesn't know. He doesn't know that Jim is searching for his phone and has taken his eye off the road, just around the corner ahead. Darren doesn't know this. But they're both about to find out very quickly. Even if you know the road, you don't know what's coming. Say no to speeding. A message from the Road Safety Authority. Visit rsa.ie.
For your business, order branded diaries now at BizPrint. Call 9177955 or visit bizprint.ie. BizPrint, for all your promotional needs.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
We welcome onto the programme now Senator Chris Andrews of Sinn Féin. Senator, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Greg.
How are you keeping?
Good, yeah. Just, I suppose, happy to be home, but also, and just to say that I've had massive support and it's been really appreciated. And, I suppose that all contrasts with how Palestinians are being treated in Gaza and Palestinian prisoners. Our time in prison was challenging, but it bears no resemblance to how Palestinians are treated. Palestinians who have, facing genocide and man-made famine in Gaza. So, whatever issues I have, I can't help but think how difficult it is for Palestinians.
Yes, I know, and I do understand for any of you, it's a challenge to sort of talk of your poor experiences when the whole motivation for this was to highlight the plight of an entire population. And of course, thinking on as well, as we must, the Israeli hostages too, that must be going through an awful time at the moment. We might get on to some progress in relation to that. But you boarded this flotilla. How long were you on it for, Chris?
Well, the boat, we left Tunis in North Africa on the 14th of September. And we were sailing. It started up, there was about 50 boats starting off. I think there was about 41 boats at the end. So there was wear and tear among the fleet. And that, I suppose, with a flotilla that size, there's bound to be issues, mechanical issues, and there was medical evacuations. And then we had the time when the drones hit us with blast bombs. So there was always something going on. So it took a lot longer than you would have envisaged. So we were about a bit over 2.5 weeks at sea.
Was your boat targeted by drones, or was it other boats in the flotilla?
There was a number of boats. My boat, I was on the Spectre, and my boat was hit 4 times one night by drones.
So when we talk about drones, because there's different type of drones now. So we know the drones that maybe are being used in UK, Ukraine and Russia, and then we know sort of like a drone that people might see around the place. So are you hearing a buzz? Are these large drones? Can you see them? Do you see them carrying something and it being dropped? This might not be important, but I've not heard it actually referenced. So just give us a sense of that.
Yeah. So so because we were on high alert during the journey, you're always looking out. We had a night watch, a 3-hour shifts of night watch. So you're from 7 till 10, and so on through the night for 3-hour watches. But so you're watching for drones. And when they come close, that's the time to get down into the boat. So, but you can see that in the distance, you can see lights like a red or green light, and they'd be buzzing around. And when they get close, then, so the first drone got very close. It's always at night. So you see, it's very hard to actually see what the drone looks like.
Yeah, I get you.
And then just bang, and then there was 4 hits, and they had sulfur, some sort of sulfur in each explosion. So, but it is.
That's an irritant,
obviously
is
worrying.
it, Chris? That's an irritant, is it? The sulfur?
Yeah, it must be. Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
think it must. I think someone said it was hydrogen sulfide. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure what impact. I haven't had a chance to really look at
Definitely,
it.
yeah, I mean-
But it smells intensely bad. Like obviously egg.
Yeah.
And but worse. And if it's too close, we were lucky, I suppose, in that we have two generators up on the top of the boat, and you know that the fuel for the generators wasn't hit, because that could have been proven fatal. So we're exceptionally lucky.
So fast forward to the boarding. There was an inevitability about it, of course. How does that go? A boat pulls up alongside.
They have like a mothership or a mother boat, and they send off a couple of Zodiacs for each boat, and then each boat comes each boat, the two Zodiacs come side by side. They might water cannon if they need. They didn't need to on our boat, but they have this like massively bright light shines down, and then they board the boat, and then obviously all with guns. They warn everybody to get to the front of the boat, and then they board and do a check, and then we were 15 hours sitting in the same position with a gun literally in arms, facing you an arm's length away for 15 hours until we got to the port.
And were you put into that position that people might be familiar with, with footage from Guantanamo Bay, etc. That sort of that sort of prisoner position.
Yeah. No, we weren't put in that position then. We were sitting down with our hands around our knees, kind of, and for 15 hours, it's a lot. It's a tough
Was
position.
there any
to be in.
engagement? Did they offer any water, any food, any words at all?
You were allowed to go to the toilet. They'd let you go to the toilet, and no, they weren't. It wasn't. It wasn't. It was a hostile environment. And then they take you off. They manhandle you off the boat. They put you onto the docks, and then we were down in that. You were kneeling down for 2 hours. I'd say we were kept there with our head down, in the intense heat. And then we were processed and then brought to, in a prison van, we were brought to the jail, high security jail, and we were kept in a holding cell. There was about 60, 70 people in a holding cell. You could only just stand up in it. And then we were assigned to our cells, and there was about 10 or 12 in a cell.
At that point, did you say, well, normally what happens here is that there'll be some negotiation and then we'll get out and then we'll be deported. But was there any time where you were uncertain that, is this the day that they're going to make an example? Or do you know what I mean? Was there any certainty as to how you're going to be treated over the coming hours and days?
No, none at all. I think you did have a real fear that this was going to be a long term. Like obviously we got out after 5 or 6 days, whatever, but you did feel that it was going to be a long term stay. Particularly on the first night, they wake you up every night, every hour and a half, just to stop you sleeping and become disorientated. And but in at one of the wake ups at about 3 o'clock, we think it was, they came in 6 IDF fellas, 5 with guns, and a Malinois dog, a security dog, came in barking, and they told us get back up against the back wall. So we got back up against sat up, obviously did what they said, went up against the back of the wall of the cell, and in came Ben Gvir, the Minister for Securities in Israel, and he ordered. He told us that we were baby killers, we were Hamas supporters, we were wanted to just kill Jews, and that we were going to be there for a very long time, that it was a terrorist prison, and we were going to be there for a long time, not to think that we'd be out soon. So obviously there
was psychological torture. I mean, I don't think I'm overstating it, but waking you up, disrupting sleep, withholding essentials, placing those thoughts in your mind, he obviously didn't believe that to be true, but that was a form of psychological torture. I don't think that's a stretch. In terms of food and water,
well, we in water we drank the toilet water that was there, and the food. Many of us didn't eat food for the stay because you just don't know what's going to happen. And also we were protesting against being illegally held. Like, the reality is, when you think about it, citizens from 44 different nations were kidnapped from international waters while they were on a non-violent, peaceful mission to bring aid to Gaza, and yet Israel faces no consequences from any of those nations. Like, it's staggering, really, in 2025 that a
why is
country
that?
is state.
Why is that?
Because Israel have dismantled international law, and there's no consequences. They've have no consequences for their actions. They've committed genocide. They've enabled a man-made famine, and they face no consequences. And
Is it
what's
the
happened now?
influence they exercise? Just for an example, in the last couple of days, the Irish government was warned about introducing the Occupied Territories Bill by lobbyists in the United States. And, there are those that would feel that that's not the first time that has been expressed, and this is maybe why we're foot dragging until such time as there's a resolution. Is that the level of influence? Is that how Israel are pulling the strings around the world then? So, because as you say, 44 countries, you'd imagine there'd be one outlier.
Yeah, you would, yeah. Well, look, I think that Israel has dismantled international law and order. So it's the law of the jungle now internationally. So Israel, are powerful and they're wealthy, and America are powerful and wealthy, and so they control it. Small countries, Ireland, Palestine, we have no access to international law and order in reality.
No, we
anymore.
don't. But we do have the ability as a nation to take a stand. Whether a diplomatic stand or whether it be whatever it might be, we do have the ability to actually step out from that 44 and call it for what it is, and maybe take some sort of a meaningful response that indicates that whilst the rest of the world might accept that international law has been dismantled, we don't. And yet and neither did the other 43, do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And we do have an opportunity. We could pass the original Occupied Territories Bill, but instead the government are looking to water it down and to give us a yellow pack version, which is hugely disappointing that they would do that. And like you say, we have an opportunity to step forward, lean into, making a stand and sanctioning Israel. Even just in a sporting context, in so many contexts we could do that, and the government have failed to do that constantly.
Just back to your treatment, and again, also conscious that this is nothing compared to what people in Gaza are experiencing. But in terms of your treatment, was there any humanity to it? Was there any politeness to it? Was it all shouting and pushing and
at gunpoint? Everything we were told to do was at gunpoint. There was nothing. There appeared to be absolutely no humanity at all. There's one fella that part of the mission. He was in his mid-70s. He he's a diabetic. He needed insulin for 3 days. We were shouting at the guards to get us insulin and get him insulin. And for 3 days he was left without insulin. He could have died, but and so they showed no humanity at all, and they were aggressive, and everything was done at gunpoint.
I know you're on the clock here, but just in relation to the peace deal that seems to have been struck, phase one has been agreed. It's very interesting how you framed Israel and America. What will happen once these Israeli hostages, are rightfully released? What would stop Israel? The US says they're committing to do so, but how you framed their attitude to international law would make you wonder what happens next. What is your reaction to this deal struck overnight, and how do you think it plays out in a brief or a long form, as you like to answer?
Well, look, I suppose Palestinians have not had justice for 70, 80 years. I was on a flotilla in 2011. The conditions in Gaza then was like an open air prison at that stage, and things obviously haven't got any better since then. Palestinians have not had justice in decades and decades. So when we talk about peace, and that is the objective, is to have peace. We all want peace. The difficulty, in my view, is that peace rarely lasts unless there's justice. So in any deal, Palestinians need to have justice. They need to be seen. Justice needs to be done and seen to be done. And I'm not convinced that will happen. So, I'm not sure how it'll all play out. But I think the priority needs for justice for Palestinians, and peace will follow then.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks very much.
Goodbye. That's Senator Chris Andrews of Sinn Féin, detained by Israel while on board the Global Summit flotilla en route to Gaza. Obviously, some still questioning whether or not there were drones. The Israelis tried to disprove that, say it was flares that accidentally came back onto the boat and it was imagined. I see Darren commenting there's no drones, it's been proven it was themselves. Well, you've got a senator there saying clearly that there were drones. He witnessed them, he observed the lights, he got the smell, the eggy smell of the sulphur, the irritation on the skin. If you want to not believe that, that's completely up to you. I can't convince you otherwise, but you have to be presuming that he's completely making that up, and that the footage I've seen, separate to that one footage that tried to indicate it was a flare, if it is that one video, Darren, I'll speak directly to you. If it was that one video of the flare, have a look at that video again without it being framed by anyone. And, stuff has to go up before it comes down. And it doesn't go up, it just comes down. But anyway, listen, thank you to Senator Chris Andrews.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Seasonal loans now available for Christmas. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Tugan vaccini neart brescia go de choras im Nienachta, chun tú chosin ser chinnes trom chúiseach. Maltarhuich vaccine flu oil, má tá tú seaca blin díos nó níos sinna, más aibrí cuairim sláinte hu, má tá tú gumpar clina, nó má tá rucht sláinte fad sermachart. Maltarhuich vaccine COVID-19 oil freshen, má tá tú seaca blin díos nó níos sinna, nó má tá rucht sláinte fad sermachart. Cur vaccine le de lista rudí atá le dana, agus cosan hu hain agus de hailachs na mian amach roin. Laur le doctor no cógasúr ran fortach, no tuair cuairt ar HSE.ie le haid sile ólis. Own HSE.
A water conservation order continues to be in place in the Milford area until October 13th to safeguard the water supply for essential purposes. This order follows many months of dry weather, putting the water source under stress. Please do not use a hosepipe or sprinkler and conserve water wherever you can. Together, we can safeguard our water resources. Learn more at water.ie/WCO. Ishke Éireann, delivering water services for Ireland.
Mary here from the cosmetic department at McGee's Chemist to let you know that Loncome have a great beauty gift available here this week. Buy 2 Loncome products, want to be skincare, and you'll get a free 7-piece gift of your choice of either Renergy or Hydroscent travel size creams and more iconic Loncome products. This offer is available until Saturday the 11th of October, or while stocks last. Some T's and C's apply. For any skincare advice, you can always talk to myself or any staff member here at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny.
Ready to kick off your Christmas party season? Get the gang together for the big festive bingo party happening Saturday 29th of November at the Villa Rose Hotel, Ballabufay.
It's bingo, but not as you know it. Expect festive tunes, cocktails, daft games, plenty of laughs, and a €1,000 top cash prize.
Tickets are just €25 plus booking fee, and they're on sale now at Eventbrite or HighlandRadio.com.
So grab your friends, your workmates, or your whole office and make it your Christmas night out.
The big festive bingo party. It's bingo with a festive twist.
You're welcome back to the Nightingale Noon Show. Joined on it now by RTE radio presenter Lottie Ryan. Lottie, good morning to you. How are you keeping?
I am excellent. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Great to chat to you. And you're out there speaking, and I think it's always incredibly brave when anyone speaks of their own experience, but it's always with a view to trying to help others or to give others a voice. And this is off the back of your recent discovery that you started perimenopause. Now, when you say the recent discovery, was it evident in hindsight that it started perhaps long before you put a name on it?
Oh, absolutely. I think I had started maybe probably the guts of a year ago to just not really feel like myself. And as we all tend to do, I suppose, putting it down to life and stress and, thinking, oh, sure, I'm the mum of a 4-year-old toddler and I'm not getting enough sleep and I've got a very stressful job and all these things I was kind of attributing to the fact that I was low on energy, probably not feeling the most confident in myself. My brain fog was not good and I just wasn't sleeping great and all these different things that I was kind of fobbing off at the time to just life.
Yeah, and you're kind of trying to deal with all that and at the same time, hold down a busy job, take up various opportunities, family life as well. That's a lot of balls to keep in the air, isn't it?
It's a lot. And, like everybody, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend. You've got all these different hats that you're putting on all the time. So I think, it's very easy to just say, oh, but sure, that's what's wrong with me. I have a lot going on and I'm stressed and there's just a lot on my plate. And I think after a couple of months, I just decided, well, maybe I should be able to cope with it a bit better then. So maybe it's not just stress. Maybe there is something going on inside me that needs a little bit of help and a little bit of figuring out. So I think if something like that is going on for a considerable amount of time, it's always important to go and talk to a medical professional and see, is there something else going on?
So, perimenopause in its most literal sense is around menopause or the beginning of menopause. In this context, really, and this is where the information is it's sort of breaking through the perception of when it starts or when it might start in terms of age.
Yeah, because I think when you think of a woman in her 30s, well, for me anyway, I didn't think that the word menopause existed for us, to be honest with you, because the image that people have is probably of this, a lady with cats in her hair and, she hasn't left the house in a while and she's going a bit mad. And that is just not the reality of it. And I think because the conversation wasn't really being had amongst my group of friends, I wasn't educated on it and I just wasn't aware of it. And once I started having those chats with the women in my life, probably initially with my own mother, I realised when she said to me, well, Lottie, that began for me at your age. And I went, oh, okay. No, I didn't know that.
Nice info,
that's
Mum.
when I decided it was time to start checking it. Yeah, thank you, genetics. I decided it was time to start researching and figuring out what was going on with my hormone health.
Everybody's different. It's subjective, Lottie, but psychologically too, it's something arriving in your life that maybe you hadn't thought of, or if you had, you thought it was down the line. I'm not sure if it makes, if it can play with the mind in terms of, future family plans or even just, yourself or what you feel about yourself. Is that a significant factor, in the general conversation?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, by just the very nature of what perimenopause and menopause is in itself, it is us, you're losing your eggs. And so things like family planning are very, very important discussions that you need to have with your significant other and your GP to figure out what is the right route for you to take as you embark on this journey. I mean, personally, to be totally honest with you, I was relieved when I was told that's what was going on with me, because when I initially went to my GP saying I didn't feel myself and gave all my symptoms, I was told I was fine and that there was nothing wrong with me. And I left that appointment, and to be honest with you, I got into the car and I started crying because I knew I wasn't fine. And I had to do a lot of research and find somebody who specialised in women's hormones to go and get rigorous testing done at very specific times of the month. And when I was then told, oh yeah, this is perimenopause, and you know what, there's ways we can deal with this, I felt relieved.
Yeah, there seems to be a pattern with women's health, doesn't there, be it endometriosis or menopause, perimenopause, in terms of going in and being told it's all in your head or something similar. I'm not saying that was exactly the diagnosis you received, but and one thing from sitting in this seat, Lottie, as well, and talking to women of different ages, be it perimenopause, menopause, is often, and I think sometimes guys get the blame for this sort of ignoring stuff, but there does seem to be a lot of women can tend to put stuff down to something else, or, you know, put on the brave face, try and keep everything together. It must be that, or it must be the other. And it's another reminder, I think, regardless of your age, to go to your GP, to advocate, self-advocate. You know, if no one knows your body or your mind like yourself, and just to make sure you're on top of everything.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. And I think what I find upsetting and frustrating about going through this experience is I know a lot of women probably would just accept what their first GP tells them because they trust them. And that is the way it should be. Now, I am a stubborn woman, and so I wouldn't accept it. So I kept looking and researching. And, you know, not everyone is going to do that, which is why I felt, you know what, it's so important that if I can speak about this and help people to second question or go and research a bit more, then it's really important I do it. And part of that process, you know, is having really open and honest conversations with the men in your life as well as the women in your life, because they need to understand what's going on too. If I don't fully understand it, how on earth could I expect my husband to?
Yeah, exactly, because brain fog, people around you will see that maybe not quite as you describe it. We use that word, but that can externally show its way, and many other things as well. So just finally then, in terms of, you know, we can't always go to, it's hard enough to get a blooming appointment with your first GP, let alone be able to switch between them to get second opinions. But is it about, you know, sitting there and going, I appreciate what you're saying, Doc, but, you know, this is what I'm feeling and this is the information I had. I really would prefer if we could maybe look at more testing in this area. And that's what when I talk about self-advocacy, that's what I'm talking about. Is that your advice to people? And I think that's across the board in medicine. Trust your own self and make that point.
Absolutely. I think you have to raise your voice, and if you feel like you're not being given the information that you need to fight back against it and speak up. And another thing is to talk to your pharmacist, because I actually found my local pharmacist incredibly helpful. When I went in and said to my local pharmacist, I think I might be at the beginning of this journey, there was no questioning me or giving me a funny look. I was immediately shown, well, look, this is what we have in here to support that journey. And one of the things that I did was I went on Clean Marine Menomin because it was a very simple, easy one product that had everything in it for perimenopause, and that's what I was recommended. That's what I started taking. That's something that gave me a huge amount of support and help. Okay. But it was my local pharmacist who was the one who recommended it to me. So I think that there are different ways and different routes to get help and support, and you have to just keep using your voice. And part of that is talking to the women in your life as well and seeing what worked for them.
Yeah, and the lads, as you said as well, for various other reasons. Lottie, I should have asked this right at the very beginning, but the last question to you, I suppose, on reflection, when do you believe that you started menopause? What, like in terms of age, mid-30s or?
I mean, so I'm 39, and I'd say it's been in the past kind of 6 to 9 months for me, personally. And I think that, you know, it's even the education around it, to be honest with you, because perimenopause actually goes on for years and years and years. Menopause is like something that happens in the space of 24 hours, and then you're post-menopause. So I don't think people even know that.
Yeah.
So it's the whole cycle of it, I would love if it was something that was taught in schools alongside periods. I just think it's not something we need to be embarrassed or ashamed about. Women are bloody brilliant, and we should celebrate everything that they go through and hold them by the hand if that's what they need. Education is power. It takes away the fear. And I just think it's very important to speak about.
Good stuff. And everyone's situation is different, but certainly from the mid-30s on, it would not be very, very rare for perimenopause. Menopause is funny because it happens really, really slowly and then really, really quickly. It's like that, isn't it?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I just think if you're not feeling yourself, it's okay to ask questions.
All right, Lottie, thanks for helping us spread the word. Look after yourself. Continued success.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Joe Gallagher Entertainment presents the Ultimate 70s Night, Sunday, October 26th. Get ready for Shawaddy Waddy and the Bay City Rollers live at the Mount Erical Hotel, Letterkenny. Sing and dance the night away to all the hits. Tickets on sale at ticketmaster.ie and hotel reception. Don't miss this unforgettable night, October 26th at the Mount Erical Hotel, Letterkenny.
As a parent, you always remember the little things, but don't forget the bigger ones. When it comes to child safeguarding, do you know who to speak to in your child's school and clubs?
Under Children First, all organisations working with children and young people need to have strong measures in place to safeguard children. To learn more about Children First, visit gov.ie/Children First.
We were all children once. Now we are children first. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
There's more to take home with special offers this week at Dunnes Stores, like Cadbury Time Out 6-pack and Walker's 6-pack range, now half price. And Diet Coke and Coke Zero 12-pack range, just €8 each. And 2 for €20 on select Fairy, Bold and Ariel capsules, Finish dishwasher tablets, Lenore scent boosters and Kitten Soft toilet roll. Plus, save more with your 10 off 50 voucher. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used on next grocery shop. Prices subject to deposit return scheme fees.
To the fearless tradesmen and business owners of Donegal, we have an invite for you. On Friday, 17th of October, iMotors is hosting an unmissable event at Snugborough, Letterkenny. Enjoy a free breakfast and coffee on us, explore our full commercial vehicle lineup, and pick up your free safety pack. We'll be there from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get your Friday started right with iMotors.
iMotors, fearless generation.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. It's time to save on autumn essentials with our coats and boots promotion. Spend €100 on women's, men's or kids' coats and boots for 10% off. Offer available for a limited time only. Shop in store or online at mcelhinneys.com today.
Your weather forecasts are going to be brief for the next wee while because it's kind of similar, samey kind of weather. Today, mainly cloudy with patchy light rain or drizzle. Highest temperatures of 12 to 15 degrees with light to moderate west-northwest winds. Don't forget a big weekend of GEA too coming up here on Highland Radio with the big deciders to be had. You can listen to it, of course, all here on Highland Radio, but also in terms of the preview, the school shows on tonight, but also from last Monday, the DL debate, which was broadcast, Oisin Kelly in the hot seat this time, broadcast from across the road at Highland Motors as well, previewing the championship deciders this weekend. So if you're into your GEA, we podcast everything as well here of significance. So you can listen back to the DL debate. You can listen to the score tonight live, which I'm sure has to cover some of that as well. But also those shows are available to listen as a podcast from our website, directly from our website. So you can choose to listen whenever it suits you. Even on the way to the match. Wouldn't that be good fun? Thank you to a gentleman who helped me yesterday. My name is Grace. I was visiting my mum in hospital in Letterkenny. My sister flew from New York to visit. She wouldn't know where to park in Letterkenny anymore as she's been away for so long. Her battery had died and she couldn't contact me. I went to the wee Euro Car Park's office and explained. The man in Euro Car Park drove me in his van to help my sister and find her. He really went above and beyond. His name was James, and I know he drives one of the blue vans. Thank you so much. Well done, James. Take a bow. In relation to Gaza, come on, were they expecting the red carpet treatment by gate crashing, landing in a foreign country without visas or papers? Well, you see, they were seized in international waters, just to address that first comment. Anti-Semitic propaganda at the highest from the flotilla. No word about hostages. Imagine they can count the lucky stars that it wasn't Hamas that picked them up. That comes in from James. Well, James, I did reference, of course, the hostages, who hopefully now 20 of them are still alive, will be freed very shortly. Read the budget, Greg. The Gavin affair is another distraction from the budget. It was diabolical for middle earners who are going to possibly be down 800 a year. Yeah, indeed, I know. Right, okay, and more coming in, all very valued. Thank you so much on a wide range of topics. It's great for us to have this platform, isn't it, here, to share our opinions and cover the news and highlight features. It's an honour to be part of it. Back with the news.
How will Budget 2026 affect your farm? In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, we analyse the highs and lows of the budget for farmers. What is available for suckler and sheep farmers? Changes to young farmer and inheritance tax reliefs. Find out what's happening between Arrivo and Dale Farm. We have the latest weanling prices as exporters boycott marts. Plus, the Women in Agriculture Conference is coming to Sligo. Get your tickets today, only inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal.
It's the Right Price Tiles wood flooring and bathware 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything's reduced in store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles wood flooring and bathware. Stores nationwide. Sale ends Sunday.
Indulge yourself with friends or a loved one at the Spa at Orchids at the Holyrood Hotel in Bundoran. A midweek or weekend spa break is the perfect way to escape from life for a while. Take a leisurely walk along the Atlantic coast. Enjoy a dip in our private pool, a plunge in our Canadian hot tub, and treatments of your choice before dining in one of the Holyrood Hotel's acclaimed restaurants. The Spa at Orchids. Book now at holyroodhotel.com.
If you are a victim or survivor of sexual violence, you do not need to suffer on your own. Help is available to you. We spoke to Niamh from the communications team in Coon about supports available to all victims of sexual violence.
There are state services available throughout the country. These include specially trained units of An Garda Síochána, sexual assault treatment units, the Legal Aid Board and the Court Service. Full details of all state and non-state supports are available on alwayshere.ie.
If you are looking for help and support in relation to sexual violence, contact your local Sexual Violence Support Centre on 1800 448 844.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It is 11 o'clock. Let's get a news update, and it's good morning once again to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. Taoiseach Micheál Martin has been accused of misleading people about the extent of the defective block scheme. Speaking during the budget debate, Deputy Padraig McLaughlin said that Taoiseach had promised 100% redress through what would be a €3 million scheme, the biggest ever seen in the state. However, Deputy McLaughlin said the lack of any substantial provisions in Budget 2026 points to a very different scenario. He said experience on the ground in Donegal shows the hollow nature of the Taoiseach's claims. Wastewater is still being released from many areas without adequate treatment, affecting water quality in rivers, lakes and along the coast. The EPA has published a report on the situation last year. It shows 4 towns and villages in Donegal, Remelton, Rathmullen, Falcarra and Moville were still pumping raw sewage into waterways. Works in Remelton and Rathmullen should be complete by the end of this year. However, it'll be 2030, it seems, before Irish Water conduct the work in Falcarra and Moville. Action also needed in Kilmacrennan, Milford, Bridgend and Burnfoot to protect surface water, according to the report. The Justice Minister says he's emphasised the importance of value for money to the new Garda Commissioner. It comes after a report found the force spent almost €250,000 on hotel accommodation that wasn't used for the Europa League final. A further 91,000 was paid out for hotel rooms that were ultimately cancelled. The Justice Minister was quizzed on the issue in the Dáil this morning. Budget 2026 was not focused on child poverty, a Children's Committee has been hearing. The government has billed the spending and tax measures as focusing on the most vulnerable in society. It includes a rise in child support payments and a €10 rise in core social welfare payments. However, Suzanne Rogers of Social Justice says the budget did very little to tackle the core issues. And the US President has announced the first phase of a Gaza peace plan has been agreed by Israel and Hamas. The ceasefire deal will see the release of all remaining hostages held by Hamas, and Israeli troops will withdraw to an agreed position. Donald Trump says he may visit the Gaza Strip in the coming days. They're the headlines. Back with headlines again at 12 noon.
Thanks, Donald.
How can I help? It's a question I ask my patients every day. It's a question I ask myself. One thing I've learned is that I can help even more when I can easily connect with
physios,
paediatricians, specialists,
nurses,
who are all working with me in a healthcare network that takes a wider view of your health. That's VHI, where healthcare connects. So let me rephrase the question. How can we help?
VHI, because your health means everything.
Right, now, on the 29th of September, Lorna joined us after her daughter was told she could not attend school because she had diabetes and had no SNA. So let's remind ourselves of that conversation.
I was told she wouldn't be made any difference for her diabetes, but it doesn't look that way. It looks like she's been ruled out because she has diabetes. You know, where she's missing what her friends are doing, what they're learning in class, to jump on, and then she's missed so many weeks of what they have learned to try and catch up with them. Now, she's a smart wee cookie, she probably could catch up with them.
Yeah, it's not the point though either, isn't it? No.
It's not the point, no. It's the fact that she's sitting here and the school is back to normal, should I say.
Yeah.
Practically.
And how has it been? Have you had to try and homeschool her then yourself?
I have. Now, her teacher is brilliant. I asked if she could send home wee bits of work for her, and Alyssa loves getting the books home.
Yeah.
You know, to do the news, all the different things and that. So that's exactly what we've been doing. But it's not the same because she's not interacting with other people.
So that was Lorna chatting to Michaela, who was sitting in for me that day. We spoke to Lorna subsequently then after that. And Lorna's back on with us again now. Good morning to you, Alyssa's mum. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Craig.
All right, okay. So you had a meeting with the school yesterday, or at the school yesterday, or with CNO in any case. And I suppose on a personal level, it is good news.
Yeah, it is good news, but they have decided to give her the one-on-one SNA, but it hasn't worked out the way it should have worked out, as in they've took an SNA away from another child to give to Alyssa, which is unfair. It's great for Alyssa to get back to school, but it's unfair on another child.
It's bittersweet, Lorna.
Yeah, I just feel like it's my fault now, but another child is missing out because Alyssa needs this. The CNO did say yesterday what she's never had an appeal overturned in her watch, and it never would be, which is shocking. In other words, she wasn't there to care for the children.
At one point, if correct me if I'm wrong, there was, and it wouldn't be unusual for an SNA to divide their time, and I think that was put to you as a solution at one point, but obviously, given the nature of Alyssa's condition, that was not suitable. She did need one-on-one interaction monitoring.
Yeah. They were going to do out a timetable at the start, so given certain times of the day where they would come in and just check on Alyssa and then leave the room again, which, as they have seen the first 3 weeks that she was on there, that would never work. with her, what she needs somebody there all the time. Because we can't even leave the house without taking her with us.
Yeah, and look,
Do you
I
know,
mean,
it's all
I think you're being very gracious, but I mean, obviously, you can only advocate on behalf of Alyssa, and Sino made that decision. The reality is, the solution to this now is an additional special needs assistant being given to that school, and we had a press release from them at some point saying that they would look, at any application for additional SNAs. So hopefully, if that application hasn't already been furnished, it will be, and the complement of SNAs will actually be increased to meet the school's needs.
Yeah, well, that's what we're hoping. I think just because it's a small school, they think that they can manage, but it's nothing to do with that. It's the children what needs it and needs the support, and there's not a shortage of SNAs out there what's willing to go on and help the children. But it's great news. The smile on her face this morning, going out to school and being in with her friends. Now, I'm still nervous. I'm nervous today because they're not fully trained on working with Alyssa. It's kind of a learning basis for them. Where I'm on edge, just sitting here waiting for a call if something goes wrong. I'm hoping nothing goes wrong. I hope everything goes perfect and she gets to enjoy now her time back in school.
Which, of course, when you see her being able to interact the way other children, for the most part, can interact, i.e. go to school, come home, do her homework, that kind of stuff that we sometimes take for granted, or indeed, actually, sometimes we can see as a nuisance, right? For you, it's everything.
Yeah, it definitely is. When I have other kids going on to the school and then she was missing out, it was like she was questioning why could she not attend when they were going. She just sees herself as a normal child, which she is. She just has a medical condition. Do you know what? It doesn't even hold her back. She just needs people to monitor her. It's very stressful.
Yeah, of course. But listen, it'll bed in, hopefully, and you'll be able to breathe a little bit as well. You have, you've done amazing advocacy work on behalf of Alyssa, so it's a credit to you, because it's difficult sometimes to put your story out there, especially in smaller communities, smaller schools. You don't have that cloak of anonymity as such. So, but sometimes that's just what we have to do, Lorna, for our kids.
Yeah, that's it, Craig. So grateful for you taking me on and getting the story out, and for everybody what shared the post and was able to get the help now what she has been granted, which is great. I am glad, but I think more people should speak out to get what the help they need.
Yeah,
well, it definitely, people in small communities need to speak out.
Well, they've got this platform as well too, which not everyone has as well. So listen, thank you so much, Lorna. Best wishes to Elisa and all of the family. And now I suppose we'll keep an eye on the general sort of complement of SNAs to ensure every child is treated equally. But thanks for your time today.
Thank you, Craig.
Bye-bye. Look after yourself. Okay, that's Lorna there. Right, so let's see. Get into some of your comments here before we take a break. What did he expect, the senator? They knew exactly what would happen to them before they went. They did. That's exactly what they expected. None of them believed for a moment that the flotilla would make its way to the shores of Gaza. And in fact, if the truth be told, the amount of medicine and food they were carrying would not have made a pick of difference in terms of... in the wider scale of things. It was not to end a genocide or starvation or famine. Exactly what's been achieved was achieved, as far as I can see anyway. Caller says, I'm no fan of the Israeli regime, but what did his crew expect? They told us they were delivering food, etc. Turns out there was nothing on them boats. It was a crew of attention seekers. Well, you could debate whether they were seeking to raise attention for themselves or if they were there to seek attention for the people of Gaza. There's some on it, I believe it was themselves, to be honest, but I think the majority of them were there to try and focus minds on the plight of the Gazan people. To be fair to Israel, says another, how are they supposed to know these people are just virtual signalling? They would have to assume they are Hamas supporters with the intention of terrorist activity and treat them accordingly. Well, I mean, they were international waters as well. There has to be some sort of international law, doesn't there? Whether it's Israel or Germany or Russia or France or whomever, international waters are just that, international waters. Another caller says, hats off to all the crew who went on those boats risking being held captive indefinitely. I'm afraid if world leaders can't influence Israel, a few people on a boat will mean nothing more than an inconvenience. More on that. Hi, Greg. I feel sorry for the people of Palestine, but honestly couldn't care. Okay. Politicians need to fix things in this country first before others. Budget on Tuesday just destroyed the Irish working class. Fed up on all these social media outlets. Palestine on all radio channels. Palestine, honestly, go and jump with your Palestine. From an extremely frustrated, overworked and stressed Donegal man. Another should have let Greta and her crew of jolly narcissists in. About Hamas had the red carpet at the ready. They would have got some cracking pictures for instant face. Why is the West so interested in being seen to be right as opposed to actually doing right, chasing other terrorists? Israel is on the front line of our defence, please, listeners. So there's quite a bit of pro-Israel sentiment coming through on the texts. You said that we as a country can do something to help Gaza, like pass the Occupied Territories Bill, but I'd say most of the country would like to see the bill passed, but a tiny percentage of our population, i.e. political parties that are in power, are the ones making the decisions not to, not listening to the country as a whole. Not very democratic, says that listener. 6 days a hostage for your guest. How's the 2 years been for the Israeli hostages? An absolute nightmare, and many of them are dead, and they should be released with immediate effect. What happened on October 7th 2 years ago? 1,200 people wiped from the face of the earth in the most horrific manner, videoed, and Hamas then subsequently saying it was justified, they'd do it again, and then holding those people hostage for as long as they did and continue to do so until today. Absolutely horrendous. Not any way that you don't, that's not how you treat humans, but you don't respond either necessarily by killing 70,000 men, women and children in response to that either. It's not proportionate, is it? Please ask the Senator for his definition of genocide. Are war crimes and crimes against humanity like abortions considered as genocide? No. I think there's general criteria out there that describes what a genocide is. What happens to the boat and the food supplies, etc.? Where does it go after they're intercepted? I presume, listen, there's not much supplies on it anyway. I think the last flotilla, they said they would take the Israelis said they would take they would distribute what was on the boats. That was the last flotilla. I don't know if they made the same claims this time. Lots of you messaging in on President as well. By the way, a set for Toyota car keys. A set of Toyota car keys were lost last Friday in the Ballybofey, Stranorla, Killygordon area. If you found them, obviously they're no use to you. The owner would like to get them back. It's not cheap replacing a key. So if you found a set of Toyota car keys over the weekend, get in touch with us because their owner really wants them back for obvious reasons. Greg, could you highlight the water is off in Fennaboy, Gorta Hawk area? We don't know the reason or when it will be on. I'll check into that during the break. That's the second caller we've had. Please make sure you contact Irish Water as well, by the way, not just us.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Shower, teeth, clothes, coffee, keys, car, drive, work. Shower, teeth, clothes, coffee, keys, car, drive, work. Shower, teeth, clothes, coffee, keys, car, drive, truck! You never know what's coming. Slow down on rural roads. A message from the Road Safety Authority. Visit rsa.ie.
McDade's Bathroom Plumbing Tiles in Buncrana continues to be Donegal's go-to destination for stunning bathroom makeovers. With a vast selection of premium tiles and bathroom products, Our showroom is your ultimate one-stop shop for crafting the perfect space. We've earned our reputation through expert advice, unbeatable prices and a dedication to customer satisfaction. Visit our showroom in Cockhill and Buncrana and see why we've been Donegal's top choice for 50 years and counting. Call us at 07493 63050.
Tour de Vor Nord of Iclain is féidir le Sheravishi bus nascáúil TFI atá fáil fud na tíre tú a cheangal le réimse lehan choláistí ó cheann na bliana. Sa bháiltar sús le chuige fin géad hálaí agad nuair a bhaineann tú las as do háta lí TFI désa óga nó of Iclain. Tuair cuairt ar transportforireland.ie is sinna Transport for Ireland is muid umpar dit.
You want a little treat but not chocolate or gelato? Check out this coffee that we made called Bravato. Sit and sip it slowly, or if you're in a rush, it tastes as good on foot or while you wait for the bus. Deliciously different. Get your new favorite cup. If you want some roasted goodness, come hit us up. Your taste buds have voted. They want a flavor that's goated. They are ready to thrive. Now Bravato's arrived. Deliciously different. Find your nearest store at bravado.com.
It's Cabaret 25 at Harvey's Point. We start again on Wednesday, September the 3rd, and every Wednesday until November the 5th. An amazing lineup of stars, gourmet food, the warmest of welcomes, and all in the beautiful surrounds of Harvey's Point on Lough Esk, Donegal Town. Book today 074 972 2208 or harveyspoint.com. The Harvey's Point Cabaret, a night not to be missed.
Shekelatha ama Highland Radio. Arna Dortugad ag Airgrid. Uproar agus forbor an go letrahas na Héireann. Airgrid. Pobal a guachtu, era a guachtu. Teshe.
It has just turned 18 minutes past 11. Just some info from Irish Water. Ishka Aaron. A couple of outages at the moment. Repairs to a burst water main may affect supply to go to Hawk and surrounding areas until 2:35 this afternoon, by the way, just in relation to some of those that were wondering what was going on. So Irish Water Sale will be back on at 2:35. And just in case you're in the Ranafast area, repairs to a burst water main, this is a separate information, repairs to a burst water main that may affect supply to Loch Naduran, Ranafastja and surrounding areas until 2 p.m. So both of those in West Donegal, both will be fixed sometime between 2 and 3, we're told. Now, the University Sailing Northern Championships 2025 is a big, major sailing event, and it's going to be held for the second year in Rathmullen this weekend. Rathmullen will welcome teams of university students on October 10th to the 12th for a weekend of intercollegiate racing. I don't know. No, I never went to college. I have no idea what you guys be at. Come here, lads. Dan Little, head umpire for the University Sailing Northern Championships, a senior sailing instructor. Good morning to you, Dan.
Hey, Greg. How are you doing?
Good to have you with us. And Ben Patterson, senior sailing instructor and main college liaison of the event, Technological University Dublin Sailing Club 2. Ben, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks.
Great to have you back up, Ben. What's the attraction with Rathmullen? Why does it lend itself well to this type of competition?
Yeah, well, great question, really, because this would be like my 4th year of the college sailing. And last year was our first year coming up to Rathmullen ever, I think. And generally, we are dying to come back. I can't wait for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Generally, I think it's the community spirit, the people of Rathmullen, the guys in the sailing club have been great. And as well, having Dan, like an ex-TU Dublin sailor himself, but also a Rathmullen native. It's just, you couldn't make it up. It's perfect. So yeah, the community spirit really is what really brings us back.
Dan, the weather's going to be great. Depends what you want to do, right? The weather's going to be great, and it's pretty calm with the high pressure. Out on the water, is that a problem, or will there be plenty of wind to keep the boats at a good pace?
It's definitely looking like a light breeze, so it's definitely going to be a challenge to get all the racing in. But I guess that means as a spectator from the pier, you're going to hear everything on the water and you're going to see everything. It's going to be a really nice spectacle down on the pier. So I if anyone's knocking around, I'd strongly recommend.
Yeah, I presume it's a little bit like, snooker, where you get some people are defensive, and it's good to see a defensive battle. Some maybe are more attacking, and you could say the same in boxing. I suppose the teams still have to do as best they can with what wind is available to them. So arguably, it might be more technical when the winds are light.
Absolutely, and it's the same for everyone on the race course. So everyone is going to have light breeze. So there's no advantage or disadvantage to either team. But yeah, it definitely brings in, it's definitely more nerve-wracking racing in the light breeze because everything happens so slowly. And the communication amongst the team needs to be really good because you need to think 3, 4, 5 steps ahead, especially when the breeze is really light. So yeah, it's definitely going to be super interesting.
Ben, describe the spectacle for us. What? How big are these boats? What's the class of them? What's the design of them?
Yeah, so we sail Fireflies. So there's 3 fleets, and in each fleet there's 6 boats. And so it's 3 boats versus 3 boats in the team racing format. The boats are 2-person boats. So they have 2 sails, so a main sail and a jib, a smaller sail up front. And they're about maybe 4 meters, 5 meters, just under 5 meters in length. So they're not too big, but they're nice 2-people boats. And
that's what I was going to ask. So the cruise too, yeah?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, very good. Visually, and as was pointed out, we'll have more time to see them, I suppose, if the winds are somewhat light. But visually, it's certainly well worth heading down to the pier and having a look.
Yeah, definitely. I think what's really, really nice about the team racing is the actual colors of the boats. So every fleet will be like either completely green, completely blue, and it just means the colors on the water are really nice. So you'll see the teams cruising around together in their sets of 3, especially when the sun is out. I mean, it's really, really nice to watch.
And staying with you, how many third levels are involved in this competition from around the country?
Yes, so there's 150 people coming up to Rathmullen in October, which is great for the local community. Obviously, you have the Beachcomber and the White Hart, which will be over the moon in October to get 150 people in the door. And then also just all the Airbnbs in the area and all the accommodation. It's not exactly peak tourism time in the middle of the summer. So for the local community, it's just a great boost in October. So,
and I think, Ben, it's probably for some, obviously, an eye-opener that, that there's this sort of high level of competition so broadly participated in amongst our colleges and universities.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it's the university sailing is massive. We only do 4 events per year, so in terms of the team racing, so to have it in Rathmullen, one of those events is massive, and as well for like Rathmullen, the younger sailors and instructors in the club, they all get involved, which is great. They come out on the rescue boats or the ribs with the umpires. They help with the launching, recovery of the boats. And I believe Rathmullen even had 2 teams at the Elmo Cup, which is a team racing event in Dunleary this year, which is great, to have 2 teams from Rathmullen. So,
and I think just to give context on the level, like Ireland this year in 2025, we came 3rd in the team racing worlds.
Wow.
Which is a Baltimore team. And I guess this college scene is an incubator for those teams to allow them to practice, sail with different people. So as far as Ireland on a world level, we're really, really good at the team racing. And that's all down to the grassroots and the college level and the Elmos, as Ben said earlier, with the younger Rathmullen teams.
Yeah.
So Ireland really does have a really good pedigree when it comes to team racing.
Well, with the level of this participation too, the future is bright. You need a conveyor belt of talent coming through, and this is I suppose a division below to march on to. Dan, do you have to set up buoys, buoys, whatever you want to call them out? Like, is it point to point? Is it a navigation or navigating around buoys, or what's the story?
Yeah, so with the team racing, it's quite interesting. The race only lasts about 6 to 8 minutes, so it's a really, really quick race.
My God, you love the pub, don't you? I wouldn't now understand why you talked about the pub. You wouldn't be down your first pint in 6 to 8 minutes.
But basically, the plan is that you race everyone. So you'll do about 12 to 14 races over the whole weekend. So you get to race every other college. But as far as the course is concerned, it's quite a technical course. It's called a digital N. So you actually have 4 marks and then also the finish line. So,
and is that set up regardless of the wind direction? Do you want people, tacking or what? Is it? Do you set that course up dependent on prevailing winds, or do you set the course out and everyone has to deal with whatever way the wind blows?
Yeah. That's a really good question. So
I do generally ask good questions.
Yeah. But the course actually changes depending on the wind. So for the first leg, you always want it to be perfectly in line with the wind direction, and that's what the race committee have to do. So all the volunteers in Rathmullen, they'll constantly be moving the course around to make sure that the course is set perfectly with the wind.
So you're heading into the wind up the N.
Exactly. So
Okay.
for the first leg, you go straight in, and then it's called a reach. So you sail perpendicular to the wind across, and then you'll sail with the wind on your back. You'll go downwind, and then you'll reach across with the wind perpendicular again, and then you sail into the wind for the last leg.
Brilliant.
So quite
So
a
it
lot
makes
of
it
legs.
exciting then, because you're going to have teams that perhaps have got certain elements of that down to a T, depending on how they have to set the sail and all that kind of stuff. So it's presumably, and then it's a blast to the finish line then.
Absolutely. And
Right.
similar to, I guess, GAA or football, you'll have set pieces for every leg that you're on. So you'll have like communicated with your team. You'll have a call for what you're going to do on each leg, depending on the positions of the boats. And because the course is because there's so many legs, the start and finish line aren't that far away from each other. So it means that the whole course can stay quite close to the pier. In other sailing races, the first leg could be a nautical mile.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, it's only, 60, 70 meters. So it means that the racing stays really, really close. And that's what makes it such a good visual sport as well for spectators watching.
Ben, is there any bumping and what? I was going to say bumping and grinding. I meant any bumping or whatever, because obviously you've got big enough vessels and a tight enough course, and everyone wants to get that that line on the turn and what have you.
Yeah, no, definitely. We try not to damage and bump into boats, but unfortunately, it does happen because it's heavily rule based as well. So obviously, there's elements of strategy and getting around the marks quick and fast, but obviously, you use a lot of rules and sailing to overcome the other boats. And sometimes in the heat of the moment, some people don't like to follow the rules, and yeah, there can definitely be a few bumps and scratches. But looking at the weather this weekend, I'm hoping there won't be any of that.
Yeah, we'll see. But as I say, every cloud has a silver lining. It makes it even more exciting as a visual event, and something different to do at the weekend out in relatively nice weather if you've got a good jacket on you. Brilliant stuff, Ben. Great to have you back. And I'm sure you'll have a fantastic weekend. Is it Ben or Dan can tell me when sort of things kick off? When does racing begin and conclude each day?
So I would say a safe bet for the start is coming down anywhere between 11 and 4 o'clock. Like that's like your good window, because obviously there's a bit of setup to be done in the morning, getting the boats ready. So any time between 11 and 4, and obviously Rathmullen, the pier in Rathmullen is the 3rd deepest pier in Europe. So that means that the pier, if you're walking out on the end of the pier, the boats will be in really close to it. So again, as a spectator, it's really nice and super unique to have like a pier that comes out so deep into the channel, which allows it to be great for spectators.
Exactly, yeah, and I suppose that's why it's back, isn't it? Because it ticks a lot of the right boxes. All right, Dan, listen, thanks for joining us, and have a great weekend. It sounds like it's gonna be fun on and off the water. All right, look after yourself, Dan.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
See you soon, Dan Little. There, Ben. Enjoy your weekend. When are you travelling up?
Yeah, we're traveling up tomorrow, Friday.
Okay.
So early morning start and try to get out to Rathmullen before the sun sets. But yeah,
Well,
around evening
safe
time.
journey and have a brilliant weekend. And I hope there's a good crew turn out to watch on. Look after yourself.
man.
All right, bye-bye. That's
you.
Ben Patterson, senior sailing instructor and main college liaison of the event. And you heard there too from Dan, who's a Donegal man and head umpire for the University Sailing Northern Championships 2025. So that's in Rathmullen. Runs on from 10th till the 12th, which I never understand what that means. I should have asked. So tomorrow's the 10th, so it's not the 10th. It's Saturday and Sunday, isn't it? Anyway, listen, I'll double check that for you. I'll actually definitely double check that for you, just in case you're turning up at the pier and all you see is a punt and a lobster pot.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Joining Parkrun in partnership with VHI? Within 30 minutes after you train, eat carbs that absorb into your bloodstream quickly, like cereal, rice, or bread. This helps your body recover faster. For more running tips and content from VHI, search VHI blog.
All innovative, all inspiring, all yours. Discover the Audi 261 range with Audi All Access at your local dealership. Join us at our nationwide open house event from October 17th to 24th and experience exhilarating test drives, unmissable offers, and exclusive product upgrades. Book a test drive with Audi All Access today. Audi. Vorsprung durch Technik.
It's October, and you know what that means. It's time for the annual Oktoberfest sale at Easy Living Furniture. Celebrate in style with huge reductions on all departments. From plush sofas and dreamy mattresses to eye-catching dining sets and stylish accessories. We have everything to make your home feel autumn ready. Shop the Oktoberfest sale, exclusive to Easy Living Furniture. Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry, Londonderry. Don't miss out on the sale of the season.
T-Shirt Express has moved. You'll now find us beside C&M Embroidery, Lismonaghan, Letterkenny. We're still your go-to spot for custom T-shirts, workwear, gifts and balloons. Just in a fresh new location. You can still reach us on the same number, 086 343 3504. T-Shirt Express, now beside C&M Embroidery, Lismonaghan, Letterkenny.
Cooney's Home Interior's biggest ever floor clearance sale is now on, with huge savings across all departments, sofas, dining, bedroom. Stock must go to make way for Cooney's largest ever Christmas shop. Sofa sets from $12.99, complete bed from $4.99, table and chairs from $6.99. Thousands of euros to be saved, but hurry, the sale must end 12th of October. Cooney's Home Interior's Letterkenny Retail Park, open 7 days.
Okay, welcome back to the programme. I'm joined in studio by Helen Nolan, CEO of Spree Agus Sport. Good morning to you. How are you keeping?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks very much for having me in today.
It's great to have you in, and it's great to have you in the context of Spree Agus Sport being recognised on the national stage with the a shortlisting in 3 categories of the Charity Excellence Awards 2025. So often Spree Agus Sport is mentioned in the context of different things, you know. Can you give us a run through of Spree Agus Sport as the organisation and some of the work that it does?
Yeah, no bother. So we're celebrating 15 years this year, Greg. Started back in 2010 looking for a permanent home for the Carndonna Parent Toddler Group, and we set up in SuperValue. And today, I suppose we believe, in the same way as we believed 15 years ago, that everybody deserves the same opportunity regardless where they live, what their ability is or what their social circumstances. So we've created a really community-led sort of ecosystem where we combine school-aged childcare with parent and toddler groups, support for families, well-being, along with digital technology, our circular economy, and inclusion plays a massive role with us as well. So we try to support, children and young people that have a disability to attend all of our classes and workshops, and we provide a special needs assistant or a support worker so that they can do that. Then last December we bought the Carndonna Nursery and Garden Centre, so we've added that to our suite of offerings. We have 2 fabulous shops on Bridge Street, Sherry Clothing and Sherry Home, which sell lots of lovely pre-loved clothes and gifts. And then last year as well, we set up Workability, and that's a programme that will support young people with a disability into employment. So we have a lovely training centre just out the Moville Road in Carndonna, and that's doing really great work as well.
Yeah, I mean, it really is inclusion in the true sense of the word and everything that means, isn't it?
It is, no, absolutely. So we have a parent and toddler group, and that's specifically for parents that have children with additional needs. They meet every Tuesday afternoon, and they find that a great support, because all the peer-to-peer kind of support as well is really good, Greg, when you know that there's other families, that are in the same situation as yourself. And then every Saturday and then every day during the school holidays, we provide lots of clubs for children with additional needs to attend. And look, it's really great.
The one thing I've noticed too, you never stand still.
No,
you never
we
rest on the laurels and say,
don't.
right, well, that's that done. You
Yeah.
always seem to be looking to see where you can go next.
Absolutely, we always are, because I feel that's really important. You have to be innovative and you have to be changing all the time, because we want, Carndonna and Inishowen to be a really, really great place to live, and that's, what we're trying to do with all the kind of the work that we're doing. So, a lot of it now is about, I suppose, like rural regeneration and seeing what else can we bring to our town. I think we've regenerated 11 buildings in Carndonna so far, and we now own 2, the Carndonna Garden Centre and our co-working hub in Mulbrae. And it's just really great for our children and young people, because we have a fantastic digital creative lab now, and we actually got a van earlier this year, so we'll be bringing all that digital outreach not just to schools now across the peninsula, but we're actually in Letterkenny and in Killygordon as well. So I think it's really important that our young people in Donegal and in Carndonna, especially because that's where we are, can see that, there's really great jobs and you can actually live and, at home. I suppose when I headed away over 30 years ago, I thought I'd never get an opportunity to come back to Carndonna, but I did. And now, Greg, people, were surprised when I tell them, but we provide employment for 90 people.
It's remarkable. So what is Spriga Sport then? Is it a charity? Is it an organisation?
Yeah. So it's,
obviously both of those they're not mutually exclusive, but
No, it's a registered charity, and it has been since pretty much the beginning.
Yeah.
And I suppose now we would consider ourselves as well, to be a social enterprise. So all the money that we generate is all reinvested.
And you talked of shops and that, and I presume that adds part of the generation, but be able to invest into buildings and vans and services. Yeah. How is that achieved? And you know what? I suppose the how you do that is also part of the recognition you get on a national stage.
Yeah,
that's why I want to dig into that a little bit. So, because it would require great financial planning and control and use of resources and stuff. So, can you give us an insight into that?
Absolutely. Well, Greg, it probably helps that in a previous life I was an accountant.
Does help.
Yes. Yeah. So that has been that has been really helpful, to be fair. So listen, we're just really good at writing grant applications, and our governance is top class.
But the way you operate and where we're located, it gives lots of different options for applying for grants in loads of different headings, doesn't it, really, too, as well?
Absolutely.
But you have to obviously identify that and make the successful applications.
Exactly. Yeah. No, absolutely. And look, we're 15 years on, in existence as well. So we did an awful lot of hard work from the very beginning. And I suppose, Greg, really over the last couple of years, we're really reaping that reward now, because we've built up that support and we've built up that trust with all, the big funders, like Pubble and the Ireland Funds, Community Foundation of Ireland, Irish Youth Foundation, and Rethink Ireland. So they invest heavily across, charities and social enterprises across the country. And we have now really obviously established a really great relationship with all those funders, because they know we can, when we say we're going to deliver a project, we deliver it. But not only that, and I suppose what we've been really good at is we're then able to, continue that project on into the future, because sometimes with a lot of funding, once a project is finished or once the funding is finished, that's the end of the project. But, we've ran lots of pilots, and then we've been able then to, to find money from elsewhere.
Because you've proved the success and the impact they have.
Absolutely, yeah.
Are you particularly good at, as an organisation, interacting with other organisations, if you know what I mean? Because I imagine you would have to be, because you work with people with various needs or wants or what have you. So you have to be able to network very well, maybe with other groups that represent those people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And I wonder, are you particularly good in Spríoga Sport in relation to that, to bringing things together, if that,
Yeah, no, we are very good at bringing things together. So we'd absolutely link in with other organisations in any show, and we'd have a great peer network, where we would link with organisations across the country that's in, in the social enterprise space. And then we would work really well with, our other stakeholders like, the HSE, our public health nurses, our local GPs, all of that. So, yeah, we've been doing that, I suppose, since the very beginning.
And I think really what I was trying to say, sometimes people doing amazing work, there can be sort of crossovers, if you know what I mean. But it seems Spree has a really good way of not doing that, do you know what I mean, to enhancing what's needed or providing what's needed rather than being sort of duplicity or what have you.
Yeah, we try not to do that, Greg, to be honest with you, because everybody has, their own role to play. So we would most definitely, in anything that we do, try to make sure that what we're doing is not the same as what somebody else is currently doing.
And the national recognition, and we're going to talk about how people can support your nomination and hopefully bring the gold home, so to speak. And this is as part of the National Lottery Gold Causes. It's the recognition gets these conversations going as well. It also, gets it onto a national stage. Maybe this is a model that's not employed in many places that possibly could.
Absolutely.
No, there's a lot of positive comes from this type of national recognition, I think.
Oh, absolutely, Greg. And even getting an opportunity to talk to you about it in Highland today is just fantastic. So, yeah, listen, the national recognition is fantastic, and a lot of these organisations like Supubl and Rethink Ireland recognise that our model, should and could be in towns and villages across the country. So that kind of is what they're working with us now over the next 2 years, is to try and do. Now, myself or my team, we're not going to go and set Spree up in another, town or village.
Not, yeah.
But we'd be hoping that other people...
If you see it, you can be it, sort of a thing.
Exactly. So we're going to create sort of playbooks and toolkits. So, because nobody's going to want to do everything that we're doing, but certainly, community centres, the length and breadth of this country could take maybe our inclusion model and, try and include that then within their own offering, or maybe how we run our pre-love shop. That what we've done to, I suppose, to bring lots more people into that space, where they're considering buying, pre-loved as opposed to new all the time. So, yeah, that's the plan. And absolutely, these awards are incredible for doing that, because they do give us that, even, last week we were at the Charities Excellence Awards and we won Finance Team of the Year. Now, if you saw the list of all the charities that
you're in the mix with,
yes, we're a small local organisation, and ourselves and Leave No Trace were probably the only two local charities that won. All the others were all, national charities. So that was a really special feeling, I have to say. Yeah, it was great.
And I mean, so much credit has to go to you and the rest of the team, right?
Absolutely.
But also the level of community engagement as well, and I think a big proportion of thanks to us to go to the fact that people see the services, engage with them, open to the whole process, and you know what I mean. And that comes from the trust that you've built up with them. Don't get me wrong, but it's a little bit like radio. Okay, we need listeners to survive, and hopefully their listeners need us, and it's a bit like Spríoga Sport and the service users and stuff.
Absolutely, Greg. We need our community, we need our families, we need all our children to be able to come in and to, avail of the services so we can keep the employment going, keep the funding coming into the peninsula. And like that, we need our customers coming into the garden centre and our shops too. We have phenomenal community support and always have. It's been incredible. Often our staff will hear, oh, look at, I don't know what I would do without you. You've changed my life. All those kind of comments, and it has been really great. And listen, we have a whole cohort of volunteers as well. Our board give up their time voluntary every month to provide the governance for the whole organisation, and then we have a group of fantastic volunteers in our shops as well.
So, what categories are you shortlisted in?
So last week we were shortlisted in Charity of the Year, the People's Choice Award, and the Finance Team of the Year, and we took home the Finance Team of the Year.
These awards have already happened.
So the charities won't have, but next week.
Oh, okay,
next week we are up for.
So just go through what you've won last year, because it's very important. Because
well, this year has been a great year for awards. Earlier this year in February we won best business supporting the community at the Local Authority Management Awards. So that was a national award, and that was absolutely absolutely fantastic. And then we won Community Centre of the Year with the Highland Radio Awards in the spring, and we were absolutely delighted with that. And last week then we were Finance Team of the Year, so that was a great bullabus for our finance team and for the whole team in Spree. And next week now on Wednesday we're up for Social Enterprise of the Year. And then next Saturday night, then we are up for in the National Lottery Good Causes Awards. We're a finalist in the Health and Wellbeing category. So we've won the county award numerous times. We've never made it to the final before.
Wow, so exciting!
Yeah, so it's
Is
so
there any way we
exciting.
can try and skew this in your favour, or is it a judging panel?
Maybe somebody listening knows.
Well, it'll be on merit, but I'm just wondering, can we vote or whatever? But listen, it's fantastic, and you know, it's. We can't say it's who needs awards, but you know what? It is. It's lovely to get the recognition, and if it's not for you, it's for the rest of the team, or it's for your family, or it's for, you know what I mean. It is really nice because you're punching way above your weight, and that's been recognised nationally, and I think that's what's lovely.
Absolutely, and it builds your profile, Greg, and you know it does help. I mean, it's fantastic for the team because they're the ones delivering.
Helps funding
the services.
applications as well.
It really does help funding applications. Just back to the conversation around the funding.
That's what it's all about.
It does, because even with Finance Team of the Year, any funder now looking at our application and see that we've won that national award, that speaks volumes in terms of governance and what we're able to manage.
And talking about the continuance of things and not standing still in terms of services.
Absolutely.
In terms of keeping your eye on the books, you can't stand still in that regard either.
Can't.
You have to stay on top of it. So it's which makes it even more special what you're doing.
Yeah.
Helen, unless there's anything you want to add, we wish you all the best. Congratulations with everything that's happened so far, and we wish you all the best with what's coming up, because it's I know it's Spire Sport, I know it's in a show, but it's all county as well too. They'll be very proud of you.
Absolutely, no, it is. It's great, and thank you, to Highland as well for all the support that you give us. And look at just for anybody that wants to find out more, we actually have this is what I do want to say. We've quite a few jobs that are coming up now over the next couple of months. Yes, really great ones. At the minute, we're looking for a digital media trainer to support Anya in the digital lab. It's a really great opportunity for somebody that's starting out in a digital career. We're also looking for a customer experience lead, somebody to come down to manage our office, be that link with all our families and our parents. Both those jobs are closing next week, so if anybody is interested. And then we'll be looking then for a digital content creator and family support worker over the next couple of weeks.
And how many staff did you say you support currently?
So 90.
90. That's astonishing, isn't it? I mean, in and of itself, that's that's astonishing.
It is. It's brilliant. A lot of casual and part time.
Yeah, but still, it's
a lot of young
people.
kids. What it's great, Greg, for is we give a lot of school children their first job.
Oh, yeah, and what an amazing thing having your CV.
Absolutely, and it's so hard sometimes at the minute to get that, wee job. So over the summer, probably maybe 20, 25 young people that are out supporting at all the camps, with our children with a disability and our shops and all the different places. So it's
lovely. You do
it's
amazing
a great
stuff.
Employer. Yeah,
again, well done on an amazing year, and hopefully more gold
next week.
Next week, yeah, indeed. But do you know what? And I'm not just saying this, it's true. There are many, 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 many organisations across this country. To be shortlisted is actually a remarkable achievement. But if you're in it, you might as well go on and plumb and win the thing. All right, Helen, safe journey back up the road. Thanks so much. That's Helen Nolan, CEO of Spire Sport, back after the break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
At Eclipse Cinemas Bundoran and Lifford Strabane, the stars shine brighter. This isn't just a trip to the movies, it's a VIP experience. Sit back in luxury as your favourite pizza,
yummy,
hot food and a cold drink are delivered right to your seat in any studio. But for the ultimate treat, step into the Director's Lounge, our most popular destination. Enjoy the film, enjoy the food, and savour the experience. Only at Eclipse Cinemas Bundoran and Lifford Strabane.
Don't miss the Doors and Floors 2-day sale at Donegal Town Hardware. Enjoy up to 20% off doors, handles and lock sets. Up to 25% off laminate and engineered flooring. And 25% off acoustic panels. With savings up to €1,000 on full house lots. Our expert team will be available to answer your queries, and you can check out the brand new George Quinn staircase display in store. That's the Doors and Floors sale event for 2 days only, this Friday the 10th and Saturday the 11th of October at Donegal Town Hardware.
The Chadwick's autumn sale is now on across all branches nationwide. Myra SE Elite 9.8 kilowatt shower, only €275. 8 kilowatt Waterford Stanley freestanding stove, great value at €699. DeWalt brushless drill twin pack with 2 batteries, now an incredible €499. Visit your local branch or shop online for more savings at chadwicks.ie. Chadwick's.
Let's get it done!
If you're fitting a new kitchen or replacing some tired appliances, now's the time with the Ben Sweeney Euronics Kitchen Bundle. Get a single oven and hob, integrated dishwasher and fridge freezer, wash machine and tumble dryer, all for just €2,000. Other kitchen bundles are available on request. Call us today or visit Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, in the shopping centre, Dunlow.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. It's time to save on autumn essentials with our coats and boots promotion. Spend €100 on women's, men's or kids' coats and boots for 10% off. Offer available for a limited time only. Shop in store or online at mcelhinneys.com today.
So today, continuing mainly cloudy with a bit of patchy drizzle further south in the county, that is, if the truth be told. Temperatures 12 to 15 degrees. Mainly cloudy tonight with isolated drizzle and mist. Temperatures around 8 to 11. And tomorrow, as I have time, largely cloudy with isolated patchy drizzle possible. Highest temperatures 12 to 14 degrees. So Saturday, by the way, mainly dry with a mix of cloud and hazy spells of sunshine. Temperatures around about 13, 14 degrees. Not too bad, eh? And Sunday the same. There might be some patchy light rain or drizzle, but not really affecting us. That's down the country. So looking nice for the weekend. If every community, says the listener, had a Helen Nolan, Ireland would be a better place. Brilliant work she does. That comes in from Terence. Yes, very impressive lady. Greg, could you highlight the waters off in Fanaboy-Goatawalk? I did do that and mentioned it. They hope to have it back on, I think, about 2:30. The usual rules apply, though it could be a bit murky until it runs clear. Morning, Greg. Shame on Paul Canning expressing confidence in Micheál Martin. We're left with 2 candidates running for the president because of his bad leadership, but Councillor Canning reflected on where he's brought the party to, the biggest party in the country. We didn't get the same level of confidence expressed in Micheál Martin from a deputy, a backbencher in Pat the Cope Gallagher. He wouldn't say the words as much, but invited you, the listener, to draw your own conclusions from his comments. Why Fianna Fáil didn't put Pat forward, I'll never understand. Micheál Martin and Jack Chambers look like 2 clowns. Both should be gone. If this happened in the workplace, both would be sacked. Pat the Cope has his photo on the voting card with Jim Gavin. Why didn't he speak up earlier? I didn't see that, to be honest with you. I don't know what the ins and outs of it is. What has Minister Charlie McConnell to say about backing Jim Gavin? Another huge mistake by him. Well, if you could ask him, he won't speak to me still. If you could ask him, let me know. Another good morning on the Jim Gavin situation. What happens if Jim Gavin gets elected? Well, if he gets elected, if he wins the presidency, it's up to him. I suppose he could say, well, the people have spoken, I'll stick at it. Or what's most likely is he steps down and then another election happens in 60 days or within 60 days. So those are the 2 options there, really. A caller says, I just witnessed an elderly man using crutches having to walk on the busy road outside Skolmorg on Small in Letterkenny because the footpaths were completely blocked with irresponsible parents dropping off kids outside the school gates. The Hugh Duffy car park is only metres away with plenty of spaces. The road was newly lined with yellow lines recently. Was this a waste of money? It's an accident waiting to happen. So, I mean, obviously, you know, we're all only there for 5 minutes, aren't we? But this person's witnessed an elderly man on crutches having to go out into the road because he says the footpath was blocked. My very point, Greg, another botched job. Any help to small struggling businesses should have been targeted, but when it's not their own money, then why not give some to your wealthy friends? Okay, here's another thing, by the way. We took part in the Donegal Camino this year, and we're about to wrap up the fundraiser. So this is an annual walk which raises funds for Cancer Care West, and we all know the excellent work they do and the great services available in Letterkenny, right? So thanks to your generosity, we walked Arranmore Loop. It was beautiful. We've raised so far €5,786. Now, we're closing that shortly. We'd love to get it to 6. I don't want to keep rattling the bucket. You were so generous because we only did it over the course of a couple of days, if the truth be told. But if you have anything left to give to Cancer Care West Letterkenny and could help us get to 6, we'd really, really appreciate it. We'll close it this time tomorrow, but you can go on to I can't remember the URL and no one gave it to me. It's idonate.com/ I can't guess it because I could give you someone else's. But anyway, give us a call here at the radio station. We can help you over the telephone line. But search Greg Hughes and I Donate and it should pop up. The total's 5786 at the moment. If we could get it to 6 and hand that check over to Cancer Care West Letterkenny, I'd really appreciate it. If you've already donated or you don't have the resources, please don't worry. But it would be lovely if we could get it up till 6. We'll share that. I'll share that almost immediately on my Facebook page. And as I say, you could also give us a ring here at the radio station over the next wee while and we could help. If you can help us get us to 6. If you can't, I understand that's okay too. Re-confidence in Micheál Martin. I can't believe that Councillor Paul Canning says he's got full confidence in Micheál Martin. That's unbelievable, says a listener. In relation to TB money not being well spent as they cull cattle with TB and cattle suspected of TB, and at the same time they protect badgers. And why? What benefit is it to the ecosystem and biodiversity? And the deer could also be spreading TB. It's like if you had a slow puncture on your car and go to the garage for air. Unless you get the puncture fixed, the wheel will continue to go flat. Thank you. That's a metaphor I can understand. They must be the only hostages where the kidnappers demanded they leave. What a bunch of heroes. Well, they were in international waters, at least for a time, kidnapped. They were taken from their boat in international waters over which Israel has no governance. So we can split hairs on that, but there you go. Caroline, if you could just let me know where John is. Is it here somewhere? Okay. Let me see. Yes, indeed. John Bresson, he's out and about. He's across the northwest. John Bresson broadcasting live just after 12 from Foy's in Ballybofey from 12 to 2:30 p.m. They'll be filling us in on the popular toys this Christmas with Toys at Foy's. So we're going to be finding out what Santa's going to be shoving into his bag. And also maybe giving you ideas if you want to buy toys as well. Their interior design packages will also be mentioned, of course, and the Foy's Defective Block Scheme, and there'll be also 3 €50 vouchers to give away in store as well. So that's all coming up after